Today is actually quite big, yeah? Today is actually quite big, and I am looking forward to the final Saturday of the regular season. Hey guys, how you going? So down BK Sport. We are live as the St. George Illawarra Dragons are going to be playing host to the Penrith Panthers in the last game of the season here for the Dragons, whilst for the Panthers, obviously, they will be playing next week, but we don't know who they will be playing next week. That is the issue. We don't know who they're playing yet because it all depends on this game. Here's a couple of games. Actually, all of today does mean something. Now, one of the games today will define if either of the games tomorrow mean anything. All three of these games here do have something, but it's just that if the Titans lose the Tigers later, then that means the Knights game is also irrelevant for the Knights and Eels. Look, I'm actually excited for today because there is quite a bit to go down. Obviously, the first game here, St. George Illawarra Dragons versus the Penrith Panthers. Dragons, they're in purgatory. They're not really playing for anything. They're in 15th position. If they lose, they finish in 15th. If they win, well, there's a chance that they could go all the way up to 12th position. We'll get into later in a second. And then for the other side, the Panthers, obviously they're in the top 8. That's guaranteed. However, we don't know if they're travelling to New Zealand yet or if they're travelling to Cronulla just yet. It just depends on if they win this game or they lose this game. So there's a lot riding on this for the Panthers, also for teams like the Roosters, the Warriors, and the Sharks. Then you go to the next game, which is the Gold Coast Titans taking on the West Tigers, the last game of the season for both these two teams. Titans obviously trying to avoid the spoon. If they win, they've got a better points differential than the Knights, so that would mean the Titans would be out of the wooden spoon, and then it would come down to the Knights tomorrow. So this game between the Titans and Tigers after this, obviously will be live for all the games, but if the Titans do win, that will mean that game between the Knights and Eels actually means something tomorrow. If the Titans lose that game means jack shit. The Titans get the spoon. Knights come 16th, and that just is what it is. Whilst the Tigers, they're obviously not really playing for anything except for just a little bit of extra pride. They've already had a successful season to the last 3 years' standards, so they'd be happy with it regardless. But that is an important game right after this, and we've got a massive game between the Canterbury Bulldogs and the Cronulla Sharks later on today, where no positions will be changing from it. The Warriors obviously lost yesterday, so that means the Sharks aren't going to go down to 6th position, aren't fighting for 5th, so they are in 5th, win or lose, and the Bulldogs are in 3rd, win or lose. However, they're two full-strength teams, and they're obviously trying to get a bit of momentum into the finals, which we always talk about. You need that run into the finals, and these two teams are obviously going to be playing it and battling it out for that. So, look, that's going to be a very interesting game. That's why I say all three of these games are actually quite exciting to think about today, especially this one, though, because this one actually does define where teams are travelling to next week, and a lot to do with that bottom 4 of the top 8. And then, like I said, tomorrow, Dolphins-Raiders means nothing, and Eels-Knights depends on that Titans game. So we could be just sitting here for vibes tomorrow. We genuinely could be. We could genuinely just be sitting here for vibes. But with that being said, we got a full day of games to go here. So obviously hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Let's get into the lineups for this game. So the St. George Illawarra Dragons, they come to this game from 15th position. The Penrith Panthers come to this game from 8th position. And this is at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. Now for the Dragons, they have no ins and no outs, no shake it all about. The Panthers do though. The fullback is Clint Gutherson, who is the captain, with the wingers Christian Tuipulotu and Tyrell Sloan. Centres of Hayden Buchanan and Matthew Fionney. The 5'8 is Lycan King Tongia, and the halfback Kyle Flanagan. Front row forwards of Emre Gula and David Clemmer, with the number 9 being Damien Cook. Back row Jacob Halangahu and Jaden Sewer. 13 is Jack DeBellin. Interchange of Jacob Little, Luchan Leilua, Hame Sele, and Loko Pacific Tonga. The 18th man replacement is Corey Allen, and the coach is Shane Flanagan. There's not really too much to go on here with the Dragons. Obviously, they aren't playing for anything right now. They actually were about 4 weeks ago. I didn't have them to make the 8 still, but they were in with a chance after a big win against the Canberra Raiders and also against the Sharks in, I think it was back-to-back games, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. They beat the Raiders 18-12 at Wollongong in a wet and windy day down there, and then they went and beat the Sharks, who they never usually beat 22-14. And Dragons fans were starting to get a little bit of a hope. They're a very inconsistent team. Just before that Raiders and Sharks victories, they lost 38-32 to the Cowboys, so Cowboys can score plenty of points, but they also give up a lot of points, which is why Dragons scored a lot, but conceded more and lost by 38-32. So that shows you the inconsistency there. But yeah, after they get that loss to the Cowboys, they go and win 2 massive games. Then they go across to New Zealand and nearly sold at the death, but did lose 14-10 to the Warriors, which ultimately ended their season. But if that didn't end their season, then the Rabbitohs 40-0 win a couple of weeks ago really kicked them in the teeth. That one really knocked them out of any chance, and then they went on to lose 40-24 to Manly, who, look, Manly found a bit of form late on in the year with scoring points, do concede a lot, but the fact of the matter is that the Dragons love giving up points lately. They've given up 80 points in their last 2 weeks, 94 points in their last 3 weeks. It's not great. It does seem like they're limping towards to the end of the season. It does really seem like their season is just completely. They're not even thinking about 2026, really. You know, they're just kind of waiting for this year to finish just so they can get it out of their system and then maybe look towards, well, definitely look towards next season in the off season, right? So for me, the Dragons towards this back end, after those two massive wins, have really just looked like it's once the season was over, right? So I don't really hold a great deal of hope for the Dragons today, but you never know. However, we have seen with this round, which you do see in round 27s across the years that we watch the NRL, the teams who have something to play for coming with a high intensity. We saw this Broncos Storm game on Thursday night. Whilst the teams that have nothing to play for, they just don't have the intensity. They just don't have anything really to go in hard with, right? And like I said, that Broncos Storm game is a prime example where you saw the Broncos really had the drive to win that game comparatively to Melbourne, who weren't playing for anything, which is why it was so confusing. They played a full-strength team. So look, I am concerned about the Dragons here today for that reason. But knowing the NRL, we can see upsets. I just don't know if we're going to be able to see that one today. The NC for the Panthers, Blaze Salungi, Casey McLean, Dylan Edwards, Isaiah Yeo, Isaiah Papali'i, Isaac Tungo, Liam Henry, Lindsay Smith, Luke Garner, Mitch Kenny, Moses Leota, Nathan Cleary, Scotty Sorensen, and Thomas Jenkins. Pretty much everyone's back in. Pretty much everyone is back in. Obviously, they rested their entire team against the Canterbury Bulldogs last week. Now, obviously, they're playing a much stronger lineup in a game that they don't really need to. Like, at the end of the day, the Panthers don't care who they play next week, whether it's the Sharks or New Zealand. In a way, it'd actually be more beneficial for them to lose this game. Because if they lose this game, they don't have to travel all the way to New Zealand. If they win this game, they do have to travel all the way to New Zealand. If they lose this game, they just have to go up the road, down to the Shire and play the Sharks at Sharky Park, where they haven't won. Sharks haven't won at Shark Park since 2008. So it's like, well, realistically speaking, the Panthers actually probably find it better here to lose this game. But they are playing a full-strength lineup, and you wouldn't expect them to lose. Now they're out to Austin Diaz, Billy Phillips, David Farley, Jack Cole, Jackson Edgar, Jesse McLean, Luke Summerton, Luron Patea, Matthew Eisenhuth, Preston Ricky, Riley Price, Sione Whanua, Sonia Luke, and Zach Lipowicz. The fullback is Dylan Edwards, with the wingers being Thomas Jenkins and Paul Alamotti. Centres of Isaac Tungo and Casey McLean. The 5'8" is Blaze Salungi, with the halfback being Nathan Cleary, who is the captain. The props are Moses Leota and Lindsay Smith. The number 9 is Mitch Kenny. Back row, Scott Sorensen and Luke Garner, with the 13 being Isaiah Yeo. Interchange of Brad Schneider, Liam Henry, Isaiah Papali'i, and Dane Laurie, with the 18th man replacement being Maverick Geyer, and the coaches obviously Ivan Cleary. Interesting that after 27 rounds, the NRL app, NRL.com, still doesn't have Ivan Cleary there as the coach. After 27 rounds, this is the last round of the regular season, so it's a little bit of a concern there, a little bit of a worry. But overall, this Panthers team realistically should be winning today. I know that their back end of season has not been spectacular and not necessarily been what Panthers fans would be expecting, but there are pros and cons to this. Obviously, they won a whole bunch of games against nobody teams. We were mentioning this throughout the time, and we were saying that we're waiting for that 3-game stretch where they take on the Storm, they take on the Raiders and the Bulldogs in their last 3 weeks. Now, I said if they win all 3 of those games, I've got them to win the premiership. If they only win 2 of those games, I've got them as a genuine contender. But if they win only 1 of those games, then I thought they were looking a bit fraud alerty, and I thought there were massive concerns. If they won none of those games, then I was deeply concerned about this team. And look, contextually speaking, they did take out their entire team against the Bulldogs last week and did lose 28-4. Gave it a crack in the first half, fell apart in the second half. But they still lost those first 2 games to the Raiders and the Storm. Now, these were games that went to extra time and Golden Point, and there were 2 miraculous tries from Harry Grant and also KO Weeks after a great run from Ethan Strange that lost them the 2 games. So it was highly competitive games and shows the Panthers are in it. But the fact is they still lost all 3 of those games. The fact is, regardless of the fact they were highly competitive, they still lost to the team in first, they still lost to the team in second, and they still lost to the team in third. That is just a straight-up statistic for you. So I am worried. I would have been more worried if they had have played the Bulldogs full strength and then lost again. Obviously, they didn't, so it does take it away. But, again, they lost all 3 of those games. So that is a deeply worrying sign, especially when, yeah, sure, you're able to beat the Knights. Yes, controversially over the Titans. Yeah, sure, you beat the Tigers, the Rabbitohs, the Eels. A good win against the Dogs. Sure, against the Warriors, even though we know their state. One against the Tigers and the Eels as well. And then the last loss in that time frame being the Knights, 25-6 during Origin. Fact of the matter is that, like, it's really difficult to read this Panthers team right now because, yeah, They lost those 3 games. They were highly competitive in 2 of them, and they didn't give a shit about the 3rd one. So I really don't know kind of how to piece those 3 there overall on a long-term deep into the final section. Now, the Panthers have won 4 premierships in a row. They've been in 5 grand finals in a row, so they do know how to compete in finals. They do know how to win it still. I'm definitely not surprised if the Panthers still went on to win the competition. However, I wouldn't be having them as my favourites. I wouldn't be, right this very second, I actually wouldn't have them in the grand final. But I definitely probably would have them in the preliminary final as we currently speak, on the basis that, look, I think they beat either the Warriors or the Sharks. I think that whoever is a Cronulla or New Zealand fan today, you want, well, if you're a Warriors fan, you would want the Panthers to lose this game. If you are a Sharks fan, you want the Panthers to win this game. Now, I do always say that if you're in the finals, you shouldn't give a shit who you're playing, because I guarantee you the Panthers don't really give a shit who they're playing because they believe they can beat them, right? But I do think that for teams like the Sharks and the Warriors, they would prefer to not have to be the team to go and break this historical record the Panthers are currently doing right now. I think if you're a Storm, you don't care. I think if you're a Bulldogs, you shouldn't care because you're a top 3 team. I think if you're Raiders, you shouldn't care, definitely, because you're a minor premiership team. But obviously, they're not consistently up here at the top of the table like teams like the Storm and the Roosters and whatnot. Even though the Roosters only just obviously made the top 8 last night. Point of the matter is that I feel like it would be more beneficial to not have to play this Panthers team in the first round of the knockouts next week. And the Panthers aren't normally used to this as well, because usually they're a top 4 team, and usually they're getting that first week of the finals at home. They're usually top 2, realistically. So they'll get a home week in the first week of the finals, and they usually win that game, and then go through to the preliminary finals. So they get a rest period between week 1 and week 1 and week 3, which some people find beneficial. Some people don't find a bye week in the finals beneficial, and it doesn't always go to plan. But the point is that it has gone to plan for the Panthers mostly. So this is a different way into. This is a different way into the grand final and on a journey for the Panthers. Look, I'm going to take them 13 plus today. I do think they should come in with a pretty strong mentality that regardless if they're going to New Zealand or not, that I think that they should win this game and win this game well. The Dragons do look like they're seriously limping to the finals. Again, they've given up 80-odd points, 84-odd points in the last 2 weeks. So they are giving up a bunch. The Panthers, they can score. The Panthers also can defend. And I don't think the Panthers are going to want to come into this final series on the back of 4 straight losses, with 3 of those being against the top 3 teams. Yeah, sure, you can make a discussion around the fact that the only teams that they've lost to have been those 3 best teams, but still, when the finals are on, you're playing those best teams. The only way to win the grand final is to beat those teams. So I think that they need to win this game just for a little bit of confidence again. And it's not like the Panthers don't have confidence, but I just think they need to get that winning feeling back in just before the finals, so they're not under the pump whether they go to Shark Park next week or they go to Mount Smart, where the Warriors definitely look like the most beatable team in the top 8 by a country mile right now. Like the Flemington Straight, they would be currently the team that everyone wants to play. But going over to New Zealand, it'll be a sold-out game. Yes, the Panthers did beat New Zealand in New Zealand with all their Origin players out, and the Warriors only had Kurt Capewell out. But I just think that, look, overall, going into this game, I still just think the Panthers should just go and win. I think they should just go and win, and just as simple as that. Now, in regards to the ladder, the Dragons, they are in 15th position on 22 points. If they lose this game, they will finish in 15th. There is no way the Knights can jump them. So they would finish this season in 3rd last, which is a very disappointing season for the Dragons. There's no 2 ways about it. They're going to minus 110 points differential. But if they win this game, they would go above the Rabbitohs for the time being. No, the Rabbitohs had the bye. They've already... No, not the bye. Sorry, Cowboys had their bye. The Rabbitohs... They obviously lost yesterday to the Roosters, Muppet. So the Dragons would jump the Rabbitohs, who are minus 181. They would also jump the Eels as well on minus 132, but the Eels do play the Knights tomorrow. And they would jump the Tigers on minus 127, even though the Tigers play the Titans right after this. But for the time being, the Dragons would be in 12th position, with the lowest position they could finish being in 14th position, but obviously the highest being in 12th position. So 12 is a little bit more respectable, but still, I think a lot of people had higher regards for the Dragons being a bit more of a competitive top 8 team. In regards to 8-9, I had them in for 8th, but obviously their halves have just been the biggest issue in 2025, and we'll talk about this on the postseason reviews. We've got all the postseason reviews starting out coming from Monday. Now, on the other side, the Panthers, they're in 8th position. Obviously, they're guaranteed for the top 8. They're 31 points. The teams below them have already played. The Dolphins... Unfortunately, they will be one game short. They will be one game short. They do play the Raiders tomorrow, but they can only get to 30 points, which will put them to 9th position. But the Panthers lose, they stay in 8th position, and they'll travel to Shark Park against the Cronulla Sharks next week. A place the Sharks have not won since 2008, like I said, in the finals. And then if the Panthers win this game, they would jump the Roosters into 7th position because they've got that uneven points from that draw with the Cowboys earlier on, 30-30. The Roosters have a much better points differential at plus 132, Panthers plus 87, but that doesn't matter. So then the Panthers would be playing New Zealand, and the Roosters would then be travelling to Sharky Park, where I think they played last year, or was it 2 years ago, those two teams played. So a lot to play for here with the Panthers, not so much here for the Dragons. I guess a bit more respectable for the Dragons, but overall, I do have the Panthers to win this game quite confidently today. It just depends on how much they want to play in New Zealand or not. If you want to play in New Zealand, great, go and win. If you this is the thing, right? The pro to playing the Warriors is they're the team that people feel like is the most beatable team right now. The con is that you have to travel to New Zealand and then travel back, obviously. The pro to playing the Sharks is that it's local, but the con is that you are playing a better team that has a lot more potential to win that game. So there is pros and cons to both these sides. So I feel like, I do feel like the Panthers' best shout, I don't think they give a shit. I really don't. I don't think they give a shit. I think they go and win. So that's my thoughts here today, guys. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. The game is about to start here. The Dragons will be kicking it off, and the Panthers will receive... Oh, wait, no, it is the Panthers who grabbed the ball there. Yeah, Blaze he slips over in the in-goal, but it doesn't matter because the Panthers will get this ball to the 5 on first tackle. Now, I need to update my time, because obviously I'm in Malaysia right now. Got to update my time and put myself in Brisbane so that the clock underneath us here with the live score doesn't go crazy. So let me just refresh it, and there we go. Okay, so now that clock should be on time, but just obviously let me know in the chat if it does mess up. So 4 tackle now for the Panthers, they'll be at the 33. 300 Sean Chicago says hello, get around your Chicago man, get around your Sean. Klaus says good arvo. Yeah, well good luck to you, I know you're a Dragons fan. Klaus, I don't have high hopes for you guys today. I feel like you could be a bit better in the first half, but we have seen a common trajectory over the recent weeks since that loss to the Warriors that they just kind of fall apart in the second half. Maybe the Dragons do get up here and fire up for a final game of the season win at the Gong, but it's a beautiful day there. I just think they're going up against too tough of a team. I do. Good morning, mate. Get around here, Sean. Well, what time is it for me here, actually? It is 1 o'clock for me. 1 p.m. for me over here. Actually, oh no, it would be 12 o'clock for you in Thailand, yeah. So 4 tackle for the Dragons. They'll be at the 35 on their own side of the field. TI23 says, oh yeah, bro, you got a big shift, lad. What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about in regards to all 3 games today? Yeah, no, I'm excited, though. I'm excited. You do get I get very tired after 3 straight streams of rugby league action on Saturdays, but, you know, I love it, man. I'm super passionate for it, so you do get super tired by the end of it all, but this is what we do when we love the game. John says, go to Panthers. Tyler says, crazy Panthers are $6.50 to win the comp when no team outside the top 4 has ever won the comp. Yeah, sure, but the Panthers have won 4 premierships in a row, so of course they're still going to have some favouritism odds to go and still do it. They know how to play in the finals. 3rd tackle here for the Panthers. Isaac Tungo will roll it back at the 45 to Mitch Kenny, and then Moses Leota with a strong run gets his ball to the 44 on the Dragon side of the field, 4th tackle. Yuri says, up the flippin' Panthers. Well, I just feel like they need to get back into winning ways after 3 straight losses, regardless of who they played last week against the Dogs. So Dragons now at the 10 on first tackle. Rapetti says, sounds like the Wars are expecting the 4 times champions. Yes, as a New Zealand fan, you would be expecting to play the Panthers. Again, if the Panthers lose this game, you would be playing the Roosters. But if I was a Warriors fan, I would be expecting 100% the Panthers win this game. Whether by 1, whether by 20, doesn't matter. The Panthers would be travelling to New Zealand next week. Sean says, do you think this is a high-scoring game? With the way Dragons games have gone recently, yes, 5th tackle now for the Dragons at the 30. Not beneficial to them, but I would say the Panthers have plenty of points in them. The Dragons can concede plenty of points. I don't know how many points the Dragons will score, though, because I feel like, if anything today, the Panthers might come in underwhelming on attack, but I feel like their defensive structure should still hold them quite strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers could hold the Dragons to 0 here, but the Dragons are a very difficult team to read. Like, they can win games that you never expect, and they can lose games that you never expect. They can lose games you expect, and They don't really win games you expect. So they're a very hard game very, very hard team. Maybe the most difficult team to read in the entire competition across the last 5 years, really. So give it to Moses Leota, Isaiah Yeo, and Isaiah Yeo is going to be 35 metres away for tackle. Royal Grand Majesty says, has the recent performance from the Storm been a bit concerning for you? Also, what are the chances of the Roosters taking it this year, going by the recent performance? Fit tackle now for the Panthers at the 28. Yes, but more so for the Storm. The reason why I would say yes is because of the injury to Jerome Hughes, who I believe is out for the rest of the season. I haven't seen the confirmed reports on that. Panthers chasing this through. It's going to be a dropout. Good work there from the Panthers. Beautiful kick from Nathan Cleary, and it forces the Dragons into a dropout. So the reason why I'm concerned about the Storm is not necessarily because of Thursday night, because the Storm didn't have the intention, they didn't have the motivation, they had nothing to play for, whilst the Broncos did. They had a lot to play for. They had a top 4 spot compared to a 6th potential position. They would have ended up probably being in 5th, but still could have made the top 4 because the Warriors did lose. I do feel like Warriors maybe win that game, though. I do feel like Warriors might have had a bit more motivation to win that game. They only lost by 1. Dragons get the short dropout, and they'll be taking up the 18. But anyway, that's a whole different conversation. Oh, he's taking on the sideline, is he? Yeah, he is. Wow, well done to the Panthers. Well done. He got the ball at the 15, and they dragged him over the sideline, so it'll still be Panthers' ball at the 20. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge there for Penrith. So the reason why I'm concerned is because of the lack of Jerome Hughes. The reason why I'm not concerned is because Harry Grant wasn't there, and I think he was more integral to that team on Thursday than anything else. And I do think that the last week against the Roosters isn't too much to be concerned about on the basis that there was 8 players out for the Panthers, for the Storm, which was Harry Grant, which was Jerome Hughes, which was Xavier Coates, Nick Meaney, Elias Katoa, Josh King, all these guys, they were all out of that game. So I don't really worry too much about the Roosters game, but I do just worry with no Jerome Hughes in the halfback. But Tyron Wishart can absolutely get a job done. Mitch Kenny, left-hand side. Isaiah Yeo, Nathan Cleary. Clear at the back of Blaze Lungy. Panthers, Thomas Jenkins. He will score in the corner. And it's 4-0 to Penrith with a kick to come. 4-0 to Penrith with a kick to come. Now, in regards to your Roosters question, look, the Roosters know what to do when they're in this position. They do know how to obviously win a comp. They're one of the primetime teams over the years for winning a comp. I just want to make sure there was no obstruction. I'm pretty certain it was a try, but I just want to make sure there was no obstruction a little bit more on the inside, but it did seem really easy there. The Dragons just completely came in off their wing. The winger does come in there. That is on the winger, and there's nothing wrong with that, so that's a try confirmed for sure. So what was I saying? Oh, the Roosters, that's right. So the issue with the Roosters winning the competition this year is their first halves, because their first halves aren't great. They're only up 10-6 yesterday against the Rabbitohs, and, the Rabbitohs are the Rabbitohs. Yes, they won 36-6 because their second half is great. Last week, they were down 10-0 to the Melbourne Storm, with the Storm having 8 players out. And then they ended up winning that game 40-10, but, again, the Storm had 8 of their players out. So you look at the Roosters, and they still make a lot of errors, man. They made 17 errors yesterday. That's outside of the Cowboys, who had 23 errors in their win against the Knights. That is the equal worst amount of errors across the comp this year in a game. So the Roosters, I don't think will be able to win games like that. And it's all well and good going and beating a very depleted, suspended, injured, or rested Storm team. It's all well and good going and whacking the Rabbitohs there in a must-win game for Roosters and a nothing game for the Rabbitohs besides rivalry. But when it gets to the finals, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So I'm going to say no, I don't think they do it. I actually think there's still a smoky of the Sharks. I don't think they win it either, but I wouldn't have Roosters as my smoky, but I can understand why people would have that thought process. Nathan Cleary from the sideline. He will, I think, miss the kick. Yep, he will. So it will be 4-0. It was close. It looked like it went over the post. So it will be close, but it will miss. Big Mac says, I can't hear you at all. Well, I fixed it. I don't know what the hell that was. I was going to say, man, I made sure today, because obviously we had yesterday the Warriors game. People were talking about how the audio was off its rocker. I made sure today that I had this microphone connected, which makes me kind of nervous that in recent streams and recent weeks I haven't adjusted it, and it's just been default, so it's just been that audio. Actually, for the people who watch these streams like every day or extremely regularly, is this microphone now, is what you're listening to now different to how you've heard over the last couple of weeks? Because it does make me a little bit nervous in regards to that. Because I remember I saw a couple of weeks ago in a Warriors game, someone also mentioned the microphone. And I don't usually update it because I think it just automatically connects. So it'd be, I would love to know. I think so, yeah. Oh, geez. So I've had a bad audio these last, last like maybe months, really, maybe months. Because I didn't see someone on the Warriors stream a couple of weeks ago, maybe even last week said the same thing. But we all kind of just ignored it. 4th tackle now for the Panthers. They'll be at the halfway point. Ellie's Adventures Vlog says BK Sports. That is me. Case says, yo boys and Olivia, what are we saying? Panthers by 20 plus. Yo boys and Olivia is funny. That is funny. But they will kick this ball here into the corner of the Panthers. And the Dragons will grab it through Tyrell Sloan. He'll be at the 5 on first tackle. Chris said, look, as Warriors fans, it don't matter who we play next week. I think we saw enough last night to show me we are gone first week. Both Roosters and Panthers will want Warriors first week. 100% agree, but I think that the better chance for the Warriors would be against the Roosters. There was a crazy comment the other day, maybe on Thursday night, where someone was saying they wanted to play the Panthers first week, and I was just like, no way. No way. But I could see, well, that's a penalty here to the Dragons. Penalty for not being square at marker. There is no way you'd want to play the 4-time Premiership champions. The game against the Panthers, no matter who plays them, whether it be Warriors playing them or the Sharks playing them, or even teams like the Bulldogs and Raiders, teams like the Broncos, you don't want to have to play the Panthers in the final series. You want somebody else to deal with them. You wouldn't want to be the ones to have to deal with them because they are going to be a very tough and tricky opponent, and they're going to have that sense of belief in themselves that they don't want to end this run because it is a great run. And once the run finishes, there's no promises and no guarantees that a run will continue again next year, right? We've seen plenty of teams rise and then plenty of teams fall. I'm sure the Cowboys in 2022 wouldn't have been thinking that the next 3 years were going to be dog shit, right? I'm sure the Titans, who ultimately got into the top 8 in 2021. Actually, no, I'm not saying I'm sure. I know because I'm a Titans fan. We definitely weren't thinking that the next 3 years in a row we're going to be bottom 4 and then in 4 years after we're going to be last, right? So there's no guarantee that once you do what you do, that next year is never guaranteed, is what I'm trying to say here. Panthers will get the Dragons down to the 25 on 4th tackle. So the Panthers aren't going to want to end this run. And that's just obvious, but it does need to be said. It's going to make it a lot more harder to beat them. They go to the left-hand side here, the Dragons, and they'll be 15 metres out, fit tackle. Dragons 15 metres away. They roll it back out to the right-hand side. Again, Carl Flanagan. Their kicking game this year has been worrying, but that was a decent kick into a good area. Dragons will get the ball here. Right-hand side, Tyrell Sloan, and they'll just be taken down on fit tackle. So 10 minutes into the first half here, guys. 30 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Olivia Reed with the $31 dude donation says, another day, another dono. We won one of the bets I had last night, which was actually your choice of try scorer. Yeah, Angus Crichton. Bit of the quad. Get around him. Sucks we didn't win the big bucks. I did get $50 back from that bet. Did you? You got $50 back from that bet? I was thinking this at the time, but I was like, well, you had 2 try scorers not score. You had your Smokey of Rob Toyer, and also Alex Johnson didn't score. So I thought you only got your money back if there was one try scorer. If there was one, you only can lose one of your bets or no. Anyway, I don't really bet, so I'm not too sure. But thank you very much for your $31 donation, and yeah, love to see the old Gussie, the old Big Crichton get a big try last night and give the old quad. So Isaiah Yo at the 35. Nathan Cleary, he'll give it to Isaac Tungo. Tungo here, he'll step and he'll be 30 metres out, fit tackle. I had 3 different bets. So you put a single bet on Angus Crichton score, did you? Good stuff. And Dragons get it at the 3, and we'll be taken down to the 1 first tackle. Panthers are really suffocating him here. TI23 says, like when you raise your voice, it gets like, I don't know, maybe I'll put this out like this maybe. Maybe I'll put it out like here. Or I can just turn it down a little bit like that. Is that better? Woo! Is that better? I can try and adjust the microphone a little bit. Alvin Cup says Dragons are not winning first half. No, I 100% agree with you, man. They haven't won a first half in a long time. Jaden says, will the Raiders be resting players against the Dolphins? Or will they be full strength? They've rested pretty much their entire team, man. They've rested pretty much their entire team. 5th for the Chase's turn up full blow. Olivia says just muted, I reckon. It's not very nice, Olivia. It's not very nice. But you know what? You're a Broncos fan. And I got a pretty abusive message from a Broncos fan on YouTube the other day. A Broncos fan who wasn't exactly happy with my call of the Broncos versus Storm game. But, you get that. You do get that, man. Second tackle here at the 45. And now that Thomas Jenkins will get this ball to the 43 on the Dragon side of the field, third tackle. Justin Sutton says, as much as I would love to go to New Zealand again, I'd rather go to Shark Park on such short notice. Are you going to go to the game? Like, obviously, if it's Shark Park, you're definitely going to go, Sunder. But if you are going to New Zealand, would you go to it? With that being said, you need the Dragons to win this game, and do you really see the Dragons winning this game? Fit tackle now for the Panthers. Mitch Kenny to Nathan Cleary. Cleary runs it into the line, 10 metres out, puts it up here. Cheeky little ding. Panthers will catch it. Oh, if he should have passed that ball, but it will be Dragons ball 2 metres out. Leon says, I heard it would be a Sunday Arvo game, Sundo. Well, Friday night, you'll see probably Broncos Storm. I think you'll see the early Saturday game be maybe Broncos Storm, Raiders Broncos, and then I think the early Saturday game would be. I think they have the knockout games the last 2 games of the round, don't they? Or do they have one of the knockout games the early game on Saturday? Because there's no Thursday game, so I think definitely Raiders Broncos will be Friday night, and then I'm pretty certain that the 5:30 p.m. game next Saturday will be Bulldogs versus Storm, or maybe it's the 7:30 game. Dragons third tackle, get the offload at the back, and now it's going to be 4th tackle for St George at the 20. I'm not too sure the Saturday games, but the Sunday game is probably it's going to be between 5th and 8th, and that would be Sharks versus whoever. Unless they give the Sharks game on Saturday night, because they're known for having those Saturday night flare-ups. I don't know. All I know is that Raiders versus Broncos should be on the Friday night. I heard Broncos versus Raiders, Jaden said. On Friday night, it usually is the first place team versus 4th. Dylan Edwards, he's had a rough couple of weeks, but he will get this ball to the 48, and then he loses the ball. And Dylan Edwards, my friend, the rough couple of weeks continues. A mistake from Dylan Edwards after such a great run. I don't think he wants... Oh, he might want to challenge it. No, it's just going to be a knock-on. Just going to be a knock-on. Leon says Raiders Broncos would be Saturdays night. Would it? Why? Did they put the 1st versus 4th on Saturday? Leon says Raiders won't play in a 5-day turnaround, though. Well, not necessarily. Wires wouldn't play on a Sunday, I don't think. They will play... I would actually assume they put the Warriors game... Well, Sunday doesn't matter. But I would actually assume that the Warriors game would be played on the 5:30, actually, because that would be 7:30 New Zealand time, so they'd get 2 prime time slots. Actually, yes, so scratch that. I think the Warriors will play at home to whoever, whether the Panthers or the Roosters, on 5:30 on Saturday night in Australia, because that will be 7:30 in New Zealand. And then you'll get the 2 double chances on Friday night and Saturday night, and then you'll get the Sharks versus Roosters or Panthers on Sunday. Traditionally 1 versus 4 on Saturday. Is it really? Jeez, I wouldn't... surprised. So 4th tackle here at the 30. You could be right, though. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just, for some reason, I've had it in my head. Dragons will knock it on. Well, I definitely have had that in my head for a long time this season, that the Dragons will knock it on. So Dylan Edwards, 0 tackle. He'll be 28 metres, 30 metres out from his own line, 0 tackle. Brenton says, Edwards hasn't been attacking the high ball as much on 5th either. Not sure why his confidence is shot. I don't know, maybe Origin. I'm not sure, but Edwards has definitely fallen off a cliff in his form at the back end of this year. 2nd tackle out to 45 for the Panthers. This game is looking a bit one-way traffic. Like, the Panthers they did make that mistake with Edwards, and the Dragons did have a relative attack, but overall, like, this game is kind of going to what you would expect so far. The Panthers aren't going to be full out with intention, in my personal opinion, based on the fact that they're not really playing for much. Like, they are, but they're not. Oh, Nathan Cleary with a good run, good step. He's still going, gets the offload away. Panthers here, still moving. And Isaiah Yeo will get the offload away again. And I think that's 6 again here for the Panthers. I'm pretty certain that's 6 again. And no, it's 5th tackle at 20. Oh, how'd that ball come at the back like that? So 5th tackle out to Nathan Cleary. Cleary with a huge ball to the wing, and Paul Adamotti will score a nice easy try. That's a beautiful pass there from Nathan Cleary, and it's 8-0 here with the kick to come. Don't worry about the 6 again, because they're going to get the points regardless. Andy says, hey, I've seen enough. Give Nathan Cleary the Dally M. That's crazy coming from an Eels fan. Look, I think Nathan Cleary will be up there. I do. Didn't play last week, though, and again, we do see quite regularly with the Dally M night, which we will be live for the entire night here. As you guys know, it's always a really fun night talking about the Dally M when it's live. But we do usually see, if you don't play in either or all of the last 3 rounds, or 2 rounds, we see someone just sneak it home. You know, we do see someone sneak it home. So that's why I'm pretty certain Harry Grant's actually, because he's suspended. Is it 2 or 3 games if you get suspended? I think Harry Grant's ineligible now to win the Dally M. I think he is. So I will say Ethan Strange will be up there. He definitely will be up there, Ethan Strange. I don't think many points would be taken away from a guy like him. He did have a bit of a rough point of the year, but overall he's been very good. Obviously Nathan Cleary will be there, but did miss last week. Who else is a shout? Tell you what, Nwanga Tawase definitely should be one of the wingers of the year. Definitely. 3 games, Andrew. Okay, well then Harry Grant is still going to be there. Fogarty, yeah, would take points, Andrew, but I think that they will lean more with a lot of Ethan Strange's play comparatively to Jamal Fogarty. I think that Ethan Strange, the way he plays, will probably get him more points than what Fogs will get, despite Fogs being integral to their team. I think they would more so look at Strange. Sometimes Hudson Young might take some points off him. Kale Weeks, I don't think you're going to see too much from the hookers in regard to Dally M points there. Obviously, looking at teams at the top end of the table, it's very difficult for them to get points because there is a lot of players who can steal points off you. Cleary will get the kick, so it is 10-0 to the Panthers, 18 minutes in. So yeah, I would lean more with Strange than Fogarty. I would. But there's a lot of players that are going to be up there. Dasmate says Dylan Napa. For God's sake. We've got Dylan Napa in the chat in 2025. We're round 27, 2025, and we've got Big Papa Napa in the chat. You know, what are we doing? TI23 says, who scored? That would be the winger for the Panthers on the right-hand side, Paul Alamotti. Paul Alamotti. Leon says, game over. Was Panthers confirmed? Well, it's only 18 minutes in here, and it is only 10-0 to the Panthers, and we have seen plenty of comebacks this year, but I will agree with you too. I will agree with you as well. Ozzy says, thought it was 2. So that's why I got confused, because I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. I know it's either 2 or 3. But when I was talking to a mate of mine, a Broncos friend of mine, he was saying that he thought it was 2, which is why Harry Grant would be ineligible. If it's 3, then Harry Grant's still eligible. Then again, we haven't seen the wider community write Harry Grant off as ineligible, so that makes me lean to believe that it is actually 3, which is what I originally thought. But I'm not saying that anyone's wrong who says 2, because I'm not 100% sure right now. If someone's watching and knows for a fact what it is, please let us know. So they go right-hand side here. Here come the Panthers. Oh, taking out the 35 on... Oh, he's not allowed to go here, Nathan Cleary still. And then he gets the offload away, and then it hits Grassy McGrath. Oh, geez, nearly a knock-on. Is Yo back to Moses Leota. What tackle is it? What tackle is it? They don't have the tackle on the screen. Oh, get it on you, Sundo. The big bopper Sundo. Firing, mate. Firing up. It's fit tackle now. Panthers, I'll read that in a second, Sundo. Panthers kick it down. That's going to bounce dead for a 7-tackle set for the Dragons. Sundo with the 5 gifted memberships. Get around your Sundo. Here's Santa Claus come early. Aussie Mozzie, Largan Ballsacks, New Zealand Guy, Laurie, Ngingatau, and Jared Farmoni all get the memberships. All very much regulars of the channel. Get around them. Matster, will Case McLean score? How long's a piece of string, man? My best guess is as good as yours. It's the first tackle for the Dragons at the 25. Yeah, get around your Sundo. Sundo with the $5 donation as well, mate. He's Santa Claus today. He says total 1% of my season bets from the Roosters to make the 8. Oh, that's right. You did have the Roosters to make the 8. What did you get them at? You got them when they were real low, didn't you? Gutho with a decent little run now. 3rd tackle to the 50. Get around your Sundo. Fred says, hi, everyone. Panthers, West Tigers, and Sharks to win today. Hey, Fred. Don't do this to me, Fred. Fred, come on. You know better than this, Mr. Fred Wood. You know better than this. Let's take Panthers, let's take Sharks, let's take Titans. How about that? Nathan Cleary's on fire today so far. 5th tackle at the 42. And now Kyle Flanagan, whose kicking game has been much better today than what we've seen throughout the season. Oh, that's going to be arguably a penalty for... Oh, they're going to say play on. They're going to say play on. I would argue there should have been a penalty. Kyle Flanagan's going to score here. This is going to be interesting to see what they call, because I do feel like the Dragons player does impact the catch before Edwards is able to make a play at it. If it is fine and it is legal, then it's just another negative we've seen from Dylan Edwards recently. But I would love to see, because now that this has been a try, they're going to have to come back and have a look at this. But yet again, Edwards out of form regardless. Let's just make sure this tackle or this attempted catch is clean. It's a good kick from Flanagan. Edwards goes up. No, he's been taken early. No, you can't. I'm sorry. You can't say that's a try. That's got to be a penalty against Fiernay. He's come early. He's contacted Edwards early. I don't think you can call that as a try. Fiernay has clearly hit this way too early. He's jumped way too early. They may still call this as a try. They may, but I do think Fionney has come too early there. Leon says, where has Slapper been? Slapper's usually around. He's just chilling. He'll come in with a random drop at any moment. He'll slap up the chat whenever he feels necessary. I think they have confirmed this as a try. So it is 10-4 to the Panthers. Yeah, they have confirmed try. I do have doubts in regards to Fionney getting there a little bit early, but regardless, not too unhappy with it. Average price like $5. $5 make the Roosters make the 8. Wow. Logan says, geez, last time I was a member was like a year ago when Slapper paid for my membership and paid it off for like a year. That was the Slapper. Andrew says, I want Titans to win so we can give the Knights a spoon. I like that, Andrew. I like that. So anyway, that is, again, Dylan Edwards struggling. By the way, 21 minutes gone here, guys. Thumbs up and subscribe. 20 minutes to go the first half. Dragons should make this a 4-point ball game at 10-6. They should. But Dylan Edwards still struggling in regards to that form. And that is going to be a conversion. So 10-6 to the Panthers with 19 minutes to go. Alexis says Panthers are not going to the finals. Wow, that's really interesting. That's really cool to hear. Too bad you're wrong because they're already in the finals. It's too bad you're incorrect. I don't know if you're going to be right in regards to that one, but you know what? All power to you. Brandon says Edwards having a shocker. Payback for turn 1. Jerry says Panthers will go all the way to defend the cup. I don't agree. But I do think they'll go still deep into the finals, especially if they do win this game. And they do... Oh, that's going in the full. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, no, that's a beautiful kick. Kyle Flanagan. He had to make a play at it, to be fair. It's a beautiful kick there for the Panthers. It looked like it might have been going dead. And then it kind of sat up just before the dead ball line, and Flanagan had to make a play for it, because if it does bounce out, it's going to be a dropout anyway. Flanagan catches it, and then unfortunately falls over the dead ball line. So Panthers will get the dropout here, straight after points. And Noob says, come on, Panthers, prevent more tries from happening. Yeah, well, that's what you'd be looking for in Rebel League. Dylan Edwards will get this one, though, at the 15. That was nice. There was a lot of pressure on that one. All right, Isaac Tungo. He's going to get this ball to the 10. He's going to get that offloaded. And now Scotty Sorensen's going to be 12 metres out, second tackle. Fred says, what's wrong with Panthers, West Tigers, and Sharks? Because I'm a Titans fan, Fred. Come on, Fred. Come on. Nothing wrong with the Panthers and Sharks tips, though. But I'm a Titans fan. Give me a break, Fred. You know, let me have something, please. Please, mate. Moses Leota, he's 4 metres away from the line on 4 tackle. Come on, Fred. Help me out here. 4 tackle. Mitch Kenny, he will go it himself, and it's good defense from the Dragons. Don't say that much. 5th tackle. 4 metres away. They roll it back to Dylan Edwards. Edwards off to Nathan Cleary. He kicks this through with a nice little grubber, and it will be a dropout coming up from the Dragons to the Panthers. Tyler says, mathematically impossible for the Panthers. So very ball call indeed. Yeah, it is mathematically impossible. But, you know, listen, maybe if the Bulldogs get done for salary cap or the Roosters, which both teams have been done for before, maybe if we see the Sharks get done for 2015 times, then maybe we could see actually no, that would bring them in. Maybe the Panthers would have to. I don't know what I'm talking about here, but we never know what we're talking about. So the Panthers that's not going to go 10, so it will be Panthers ball at 10. Is Fred Hectic Fred's long lost cousin? What, just because they've both got, you know that Hectic Fred's name isn't Fred, right? You know his name's not Fred. Laurie says, thank you, Justin, for the membership gift. Appreciate it. Get around here, Laurie. You're always here. Panthers now will be Moses Leota, 5 metres out. It's too bold of a call to comprehend. Do not even try. Exactly right. I was so all over the shop from trying to comprehend it that I was just insulting teams that would actually benefit the Panthers. Second tackle now, 4 metres away from the line. 16 minutes to go the first half. That's Freddery. It's not. So Moses Leota now. He will get this ball to the 3 on 3rd tackle. Alex says, whose side are you on? I'm on the side of a good game. That's what I'm on the side of. And it's going to be Casey McLean. He'll be 4 metres away from the line on 4 tackle. This is solid defense from the Dragons at the moment. They sometimes can have an okay defense and sometimes not so much. And now it's going to be Luke Garner, 5 metres out. Fareed is the name. Fareed. 5th tackle, Nathan Cleary gets it across underneath, and that's going to be Blaze Salungi. Offloads at Nathan Cleary. He'll get the ball all the way over the top here to Thomas Jenkins. He will step. He will go. He'll get it across here to Casey McLean, and he is... Oh, no, he's out, I think. I'm pretty certain he's out. The touchy hasn't put his flag up, but I'm pretty certain his feet go down here. I'm pretty certain his feet are out here. So whoever had Case McLean to score, well, I think you're going to be unlucky here because I feel like his feet might go out of play. This is really good defense from the Dragons to make this play on him. He is still up, actually. Oh, maybe not. Oh, he's probably out there, though. He puts the... Yeah, he does go out. He does go out. So I was right. It was close, though. Case McLean did keep his foot up originally. So that is going to be a no try. And it says, yeah, I know it's something that I can't spell it. Logan says, I love what Hectic Fred does for the Bulldogs community, but I can't stand his voice, croakiest thing I've ever heard. Why are you going to do my boy like that? Why are you going to do him like that, man? But no, he's great for the Bulldogs community, mate. He's a great dude, too. Really kind dude. So the Dragons will get this ball to the 25, second tackle. The Rose says, if Titans win, they'll avoid the spoon. I can't see Newey beating Eels at Combank. I can, on the basis that the Eels could come in with nothing to play for, whilst the Knights do have something to play for. But, we'll see. Titans still need to beat the Tigers, which I'm actually quite confident for. I do actually think that we have a good chance against the Tigers today. And Gutho, taking up the 50 on forward tackle. Roll it back to Flanagan. Flanagan off now to Buchanan, and he's going to be 42 metres out. The Panthers haven't really stamped their ground as much as you were thinking, like they originally did, but the Dragons have still made a game of it here. Hard kick to take. The Dragons will touch it, goes backwards, and that's going to be a penalty to the Panthers. Made contact with him before the ball came down. Well, so you're going to penalise that. You're going to penalise that, but you didn't penalise the original one. That's pretty much the same. Matthew Finay's done pretty much the exact same thing as what he did with the first Dylan Edwards knock on for the... Oh, they're not challenging this. Well, no, you're not challenging this, Dragons. You're going to lose this challenge. They're going to lose this challenge for sure. And he says, wow, what a surprise Touchy didn't put the flag up. He did say to check it, but I don't... Yeah, he didn't... Well, it was close. It was actually really close, so I'm not too upset with the Touchy there. But it's clearly... Like, Finay's not even going for the ball there. He's not even going for the ball. Finay has just come into contact with him, and he's not even putting his arms up for the ball. Yeah, it's a challenge unsuccessful. They've lost their challenge here, the Dragons. That's a stupid challenge. But then again, I believe that was pretty similar to the first try for the Dragons, so I'm surprised they called this, but they didn't call the last one. Brent says, yeah, I got McLean to score more than his opposition. 4. His opposition 4, that's not Hayden Buchanan. That would be... that's Matthew Finay. Yeah, makes sense. I'll back it. Alright, so Panthers with the penalty and the Dragons' unsuccessful challenge. The Panthers will get this ball to the 35 on their own side of the field. Jonesy Busters, how's the Dogs going? Closer than I thought, to be honest. Yeah, well, it's actually, in a way, beneficial for the Panthers to lose this game, because it means less travel time. They only have to go to Shark Park rather than going across to New Zealand. But, with that being said, I still have the Panthers to win. Convincingly, too. Second tackle now to 45. And it says, Fred's a great dude. He was there when I heard about Dylan Brown's drug saga, and he consolidated me and made sure I was alright, as Dealbag's my favourite player. Yeah, no, Fred's an amazing dude. No, he's a really good dude. There's there's not everyone's going to be great in the content community. There's not everyone who's going to be great overall, but he definitely is one of the really good dudes in this community. So Blaze Salungi, he'll be 20 metres out, fourth tackle. I'll never have a bad word to say about him, really. Mitch Kenny to Isaiah Yote. Isaiah Yote to 15, and Nathan Cleary. Cleary at the back into Edwards. Edwards gives it off to Isaac Tungo, and Tungo steps, and he'll be 5 metres out, gives it to Polalamotti, back to Dylan Edwards. Edwards kicks this ball through. It's going to be a dropout. Jeez, that was close, though, for Blaze Salungi. Unless he touches this. But they're going to go to the bunker here just to check if he touches it or not. Jaden Sewer knocks this ball dead, but they're going to check if Blaze Salungi touches it first. So he puts the kick through. I don't know. Jack de Bellin. I don't even know what Jack de Bellin has to do with this. I think he's touched that, Blaze Salungi. I think this will be a knock on. I think he hits it into him. I think he's going to hit it into him here. You have to assume it, though. You have to assume, because you can't see his hands actually touch it. No player has clear possession. Jaden's with stomach. Blaze, so they're going with an assumption there, which I'm okay with, because it is For mine, it is a knock on, but you had to assume that he's touched that with him coming down over the top of the ball and the ball coming down like that. So, look, that's a bunker decision based off of not black and white ruling, but it probably is the right call regardless. Laurie says, actually was thinking, surely Marky, if chosen, will play for the Kangaroos tour or choose Fiji for the Pacific Bowl. I think if he gets selected for the Kangaroos, he takes it, but that would be interesting to see if they do that. I don't know if he has... Is he eligible for Australia? Actually, he would be, definitely, because he's Wallabies. I would love to see him play for Fiji, but with that being said, yes, if he gets selected for Kangaroos, you would absolutely assume he plays for the Kangaroos in the Ashes too. That's Dragons ball here at the 40, 4 tackle. Can't watch players getting close to winning a grand final the first year he left para. Yeah, that would be tough, but fit tackle for the Dragons, and they're 28 metres away from the line through Hame Sele. Still only a 4-point game here. Warriors and Sharks fans, you still don't know who you're playing next week. And Roosters fans. King Tongia puts it in the air. Edwards will grab it. He'll be at the 5 on first tackle. Jim Amar says, why couldn't Penrith rest all their players this round? Well, they could have. They chose not to. The reason why they decided not to is because they don't want to lose 4 games straight, I don't believe. I have Mark and Coates, the Kangaroos wingers. Well, Xavier Coates, definitely. Who else would be a shout? Like, obviously, Murray Talangi is injured, and I think he also would play Samoa, no? Who else is there? No one else in the Storms. Xavier Coates there. Selwyn Cobbo's obviously not going to be there. To be fair, it is probably marked among to us. I can't think off the top of my head. Lomax and Kiraz. Well, Kiraz, he's not playing today. I think is he injured? So that's a huge kick there from Nathan Cleary, and that's going to go all the way down to the 5, where the Dragons will now bring it out of the 15 to the 20 through Tyrell Sloan. I will probably say no one twice. They probably gets it. Yeah, Lomax's form hasn't been fantastic this year. It depends on what they want to go with consistency-wise, though. Hobbit says, don't be worried, Warriors fans. Well, I think that there's a reason why Warriors fans are definitely worried, Hobbit. With that being said, I can still see them winning in New Zealand. I can, against the Roosters. Maybe not so much the Panthers, though. And penalty here to the Dragons. I've got to disagree with that call. I don't agree with that. But anyway, Dragons penalty. Chris says, so far the Dragons making a go of it. Ref's been so inconsistent lately in all games. I actually think they've gotten worse over the season in all games. There seems to be some real howlers. Well, Broncos Storm was a howler of a game across the board. Yeah, I didn't think that was a penalty. But Dragons will get the ball to the 45. Then we also saw a pretty big howler in that Manly Warriors game yesterday, where I don't believe that second try for Manly was a try. There's been some pretty controversial calls for sure. And then obviously we saw that Titans-Panthers game about a month ago now. And King Tongia will be 38 metres out, second tackle. 10 minutes to go the first half, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Don't forget, Titans versus Tigers right after this. We'll be live for it. And then we've got a big game between the Bulldogs and Sharks later on tonight. They go right-hand side. Jacob Little off to Flanagan. Then Jaden Sewer. And Sewer's going to be... He's still going here. He'll be fourth tackle at the 25. Charles, remember Kiraz was limping off the field last week. There you go. Yeah, so injured. And King Tongia to Gutherson over to the left-hand side. Chance here. Panthers defense not too good. Dragons at the 10. Fit tackle. 10 metres out. Gutherson to Flanagan. His kicking game's been good, but he's not going to kick it this time. And it's a knock-on from the Dragons. Flanagan, you got to kick that ball. Flanagan's been really good with his kicks today. And the biggest concern with the Dragons this year has been their halves, and especially with their kicking game, with King Tongia, or Lachlan Ilias, or Kyle Flanagan. And apparently Ilias has been killing in New South Wales Cup, mind you. But today, the Dragons have been really good with their kicking game, except for just then where they decided not to kick. Bogula says, go the Printers. Yeah, look, the Printers, they're a good team. Don't know if they're going to make the 8 this year, though. The Panthers, they'll make the 8. The old Penrith Panthers, but the Printers... Not sure about them. Usually costs about 10 cents to watch their games. Third tackle now at the 33. Hubbard says that Sea Eagles second try was a gift. Well, yeah, I agree. I don't think it was a try. Either way, though, the Warriors just simply weren't good enough yesterday in a lot of regards. Both teams made a ridiculous amount of errors. It was like 15 to 12 errors Manly, I'm pretty certain. So that's a big worry for the Warriors against a team that's not in the top 8. But... You know, you've got to have faith. As a Warriors fan, you've got to have faith. Yeah, sure, listen to people like myself and other people who are criticising them and being, a bit hesitant on it. But you've got to have faith as a fan of the team. You know, if the Titans were in your position, I would still have all faith, regardless of how much we would be struggling. Third tackle now for the Dragons at the 25. Not as many points in this first half as you would expect. Bull Gods versus Printers grand final. Big grand final, that. Fourth tackle now for the Dragons at the 33. Bulldogs Panthers grand final could be awesome if that was the case, but people won't like to see Panthers go on and probably win it again. Fifth tackle now at the 40. And Flanagan, he will kick matchup-wise. That's a very good game. It'll be like full strength on full strength. Ignore last week. And it's going to be Paul Alamotti. Alamotti brings it to the 35 on first tackle. Hubbard says that was said on NRL show many times. What was said? Like, regardless of the try being controversial, that the Warriors haven't been good enough? Is that what you're saying? And it says, Ilias might guide the Dragons to the New South Wales Cup Grand Final, but I think the Warriors win that only, dropping one game. Yeah, I heard the Warriors are very good in the New South Wales Cup. They've been apparently fantastic this year. So left-hand side was Isaiah short ball, and they've got numbers here. They've got numbers galore. Casey McLean at the 30. Thomas Jenkins, he kicks that ball back onto the inside, and Casey McLean with a try time. Mutstas, you get that try for Casey McLean and Brenton Eslick. You get the try for Casey McLean, and it is 14.6 with the kit to come. Fred says there'll be more errors in the next game, Titans. Then maybe not necessarily. Like, if you watch Titans games this year, they're actually not awful in regards to a completion rate. They're just not good. There's a bit of a difference there, but this is too easy for the Panthers. They get it offload. They've got literally a 3-on-1 out there. They get the ball to Case McLean, and then McLean passes it to Jenkins, and Jenkins with a nice little kick underneath, which just bounces up perfectly for Case McLean, and he will score. There we go. But yeah, look, if you watch Titans games this year, they're not necessarily bad for a completion rate, you know, in regards to making errors. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to actually get the stat here for you. Titans have actually had the most intercepts this year alongside the Eels with 17, which is quite funny. Negative play. No, I want to see completion rate. Where is it? Charge downs. Of course, the Bulldogs are top of that. Where is completion rate here? His completion rate, decoy runs, tackle, line breaks, line engage, set completion. Here we go. So the Titans are actually 7th. So they've got a 79% completion rate. The Tigers are in 11th. Well, they're equal 7th, but the Titans are equal with a lot of teams. The worst teams for completion rate, I'm not going to surprise anyone here, the Knights, the Roosters, and the Cowboys. If you watch those three teams play this year, you know that that's not a surprise. You know, the Roosters were at like 54% completion rate at halftime yesterday. I'm not even joking. 54%. They were I think 56% maybe. I don't know. It's either 54 or 56%. Nathan Cleary here for the kick from the left-hand side. And he is going to make it 16-6. 5.5 minutes to go. 5.5 minutes to go. Fred says, why would you even watch them? Well, clearly you watch them if you've got an opinion on them. Otherwise, you're saying that you have an opinion on teams without actually watching them. So it's either that you aren't really entitled too much to an opinion because you don't actually watch the sport and watch the teams that you're talking about, or that you're just incorrect in regards to the opinion because that's not necessarily what we've been watching this season. So it's either you're a Muppet here or you're a Muppet there. Which one do you want to go with? You know, you have to watch the games to have an opinion on the games, man. We watch every single game here on the channel. We stream every single game across the entirety of the season. So that doesn't mean that I'm right, but I have a more aligned opinion to what we're watching than to what you have because you're not actually watching what we're seeing. You understand what I'm saying? And that's not necessarily to completely insult you and say that you're just stupid. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that it's difficult to take your opinion for full merit when you're not even watching the games, then you insult people for watching the games. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the Panthers now second tackle there at the 25, and Dylan Edwards is away here. Oh, great tackle. Jeez, he was nearly away. King Tonga just trips him up. So I go right-hand side, and the Panthers will be at the 45 on 4 tackle. Chris says, yeah, I'm happy. Oh, nearly taken him on the sideline. Yeah, I'm happy. Warriors have made the finals twice in the past 3 years. Plus, we got the fastest try last night. That was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, New South Wales Cup rolling nicely. A lot of positives for us at the moment. There is a lot of positives. I will say that there is concerns, long-term too, but there is a lot of positives. I think the biggest concern, and this is what I actually said last year as well, mind you, in my post-season review, and a lot of Warriors fans kind of bit back at it. I did say the halves are the worrying. That's why I had the Warriors so low this year. First tackle with the Dragons, now second at the 20. The concerning thing with the Warriors is their halves. It's in a better situation than, say, like a team like the Dragons or a team like the Knights. But then again, the Knights are getting Dylan Brown. the Warriors halves, they don't just stand out at you, right? Like Luke Metcalf is great. With that being said, a halfback is responsible for your attack as well. Your halfback, your 5'8" and whatnot. And their attack wasn't good even when Luke Metcalf was there. He was individually doing quite well, and the team was going quite well. However, the attack wasn't. It was just their defense that was a lot more structured with him and Mitchell Barnett in the team. I genuinely think Mitchell Barnett is the biggest loss of the Warriors season. Panthers now get this ball to the 20, the 25. Edwards steps and will be taken down. First tackle about 27 minutes out. So I do have concerns long term about your halves. Obviously, you did buy in a lot recently into Ronald Volkman, who obviously didn't pan out. Ultimately went to the Dragons. There was a whole hoo-ha about that too. Third tackle with the Panthers to the 45. I do worry about Harris Tavita, Tamati Martin, Tanner Boyd, and Luke Metcalf being able to get the job done long term for the club. So you've got plenty of halves there, but are they going to stand out like a Nathan Cleary? Are they going to stand out like a Jerome Hughes? They're going to stand out, like the best halfbacks in the game. Panthers here, Thomas Jenkins. No, Luke Garner back on the inside, and the Panthers, Nathan Cleary, he will score. It looked like Jenkins from afar, but it was actually Luke Garner, and he gets the ball back on the inside for Nathan Cleary, and this is a little bit early on schedule for where the Dragons capitulated games, but it's still here. They're still here. So try time there for the Panthers. 20-6 with the kit to come. Fred says, I'm new to the tipping competition, but I'm sitting third in the competition, so I've been guessing a lot this year. Well, the thing is, it's going to benefit you in that situation here, Fred, is that a lot of this year has been quite a lot of upsets, right? This has been a significant year for upsets. I think it's maybe 60-40 favourites, but overall 40% of underdogs is really good. There's a lot of underdogs. It shows you the closeness of the competition this year. That's a nice try from the Panthers, by the way, to take it to 14. For example, I'll give you for example here. So in 2025, the teams in the bottom four have won 5, 6, 8, and 9 games collectively. In 2024, to be fair, actually, it's actually quite funny. In 2024, teams actually won more games down there. The team in 13th won 9, which is the collective of the bottom four. Anyway, long story short, there's been a lot more upsets this year across the competition. In 2023, the Tigers only won 4 games, and 9 games got you out of the bottom 4. 2022 was 4 games for the Tigers, and 9 games actually got you into 11th position in 2022. And 2021, the Bulldogs only won 3 games, and 9 games actually would have put you into 11th position as well. But 9 games has you in 9 wins. Has you currently in third. No, hold on. In fourth last. Yeah. So not too much of a difference, but the point is that these teams at the bottom of the table have been winning a lot more games overall through the bottom 9, not just necessarily the Titans in last. Nathan Cleary will get the kick, and it will be 22-6 with a minute and a half to go the first half. So that's why it's actually been beneficial if you are not really knowing rugby league. This year has been a great year to not really know rugby league and to get into it, because your tips can be right on the basis of you not going what should be happening. Because what should be happening is a lot of these games shouldn't have been going the way they did. Andrew says, hey, I take offence, I'm a Muppet. Yeah, you are a Muppet, Andrew. But you are our Muppet, but you are still a Muppet. Laurie says, out of the finals 8, 4 are non-city-based teams, right? Broncos, Warriors, Melbourne. Broncos, Melbourne, Warriors. Broncos, Melbourne, Warriors, Raiders. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Imagine a year where it was like no Sydney teams. You'd have to see the Raiders, for that to happen, you'd have to have the Raiders, the Storm, the Broncos, the Warriors, the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Titans, and the Knights. That'd be hilarious to see that if that ever happened. I don't think it does happen. But then again, we do have 2 more non-Sydney-based teams coming in, Papua New Guinea and Perth, over the next 5 years. So we've got Perth coming in probably in 2027, and Papua New Guinea's been named for 2028, but I do think they'll be pushed back to 2029, 2030, probably more so 2030. Fit tackle now for the Panthers to the 45 on their own side of the field, 43 seconds to go in the first half. All right, so the Panthers will kick that ball straight down the hey diddle diddle, and Gutho will get it. Jeez, it was a tough one for him, but he grabs it at the 10. It's actually a really good catch from him. Alex says, I think it's pretty obvious that the Broncos will beat the Raiders. I think it's pretty obvious that you're a Muppet. Brenton says, yep, agree, Barney, biggest loss. Yeah, especially as a Knights fan, you know how important Mitchell Barnett is. Obviously, he was at the Knights before he went across to the Warriors. Now the Dragons will get this ball to the 25 on third tackle. Lagan says, the Titans' next game decides if I win $250 in my tipping comp. Well, we get 10% of that, so you win 225 and we get 25. So Dragons now will be taken down at the 23. Isn't that right, Logan? Isn't that right? It's a mistake there. Oh, no, it's not. It's just half-time. It's just half-time. So it was a tight contest for a lot of this first half, really. But the Panthers were just able to score 2 tries in the last 5 minutes there to take it away to the 16-point game. And I do think they probably go on with this and win this quite well. The Dragons in second halves recently just haven't been great. You know, if I go back through their recent draw, last week against Manly was horrific in the second half. So last week, Manly in the second half, well, to be fair, Manly actually scored most of their points in the first half, but they still conceded 3 tries in the second half. The Dragons, they did score 3 tries of their own, actually. So last week actually wasn't the second half that fell apart. It felt like it at the time. The Rabbitohs game where they lost 40-0, they gave up 4 tries in the second half and obviously didn't score a try in the entirety of the game, let alone the second half. So maybe I might be a little bit mistaken there. Dragons, Warriors, they were up 10-4 at half time, the Dragons, and lost 14-10. So they did give up 2 tries and didn't score a point in the second half. So I'm a little bit worried there. But look, the Panthers are simply the better team. You know, they are simply the better team, so you would fully expect them to go on with this and then obviously travel to New Zealand next week. But let's get into some of these stats here at halftime, guys. So obviously hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and then we'll get into the chat and see what you are saying. Now, in regards to the try scorers so far, Kyle Flanagan for the Dragons. I thought it was dubious, but they still scored. For the Panthers, it was Thomas Jenkins, Paul Alamotti, Case McLean, and also Nathan Cleary. The possession-wise, 55% possession for the Panthers, 45% for the Dragons. That's not surprising. Time and possession, that was actually pretty healthy. 15 minutes and 9 seconds for the Panthers and 12 minutes and 43 seconds for the Dragons. That's getting up close to the 28-minute mark. 25 is like a real low minimum. Anything 26, 27 is pretty average for time possession. 28 minutes is pretty healthy. So happy to see that as a rugby league fan. That stat there that I read you out at halftime is not a telling point in regards to necessarily whether a game is good or not, but it is just saying whether you're being able to watch a lot of rugby league or you're being limited in the amount of rugby league you're actually getting to watch. Like, for example, the Broncos-Cowboys last week, they had like a time and possession of like 9 minutes and 10 minutes in the first half, which was like 19 minutes or 20 minutes. So that's a whole 20 minutes where you weren't seeing ball in hand. That's why I read that stat out to say that like it's actually quite healthy in being able to watch the rugby league today. Completion rate, you want to be seeing at least 80%. The Panthers are at 80% on the dot, 17 from 21. They're not complaining with that. It's nothing spectacular, but it's definitely great. It's not bad. You're happy with that. The Dragons are at 77%, 14 from 18. They've had 3 less sets in total, 3 less, and also they're 14 from 18. So they've had 3 less sets in total, but they've made 4 errors on their sets. 77% isn't awful, but it's not hitting the marker of 80%. So it's okay. Nothing to write home about too much, but you would like to see just a little bit better to at least get to that 80. Runs-wise is a pretty significant gap here, and a reminder, these stats will update at half-time, so they do chop and change. 77 runs for the Dragons for 559 run meters. That is over 200. Now it's 78 for 566. That is over 210 meters behind the average that you look for of 10 meters on average per run. You want to be looking at 10 meters on average per run. They are 214 meters behind that, so that's not great. Whilst the Panthers, they're at 106 runs for 987 run meters. So on its merit alone, they are over 400 meters above where the Dragons are at. They're 417 meters better than where the Dragons are at. Yeah, sure. Now it's 81 for 575, and they're still above them by over 400 meters, 412 meters. But yeah, sure, they've had 81 to 106, but the Panthers' rate comparatively for that 10 meters on average per run you're looking for is about 80 behind. They're 987, 106. They're roughly about 80 behind where they would like to be on the 10 meters on average per run. But ultimately, it's much more an advantage to the Panthers there, and the Dragons are not even close to the 10 meters on average per run. So you're going to see average set distances massively in front for the Panthers here. Overall, I'm not going to give you the metric of 10 meters for the Dragons to make it equal, because ultimately it would be completely unfair. Well, you know what? To tell you how separated this game is, I'll give them the 250 meters. So 81 to 106, 25. 10 meters on average per run. So 10 times 25 is 250. So that'd be 675, 775. That'd be 825. That's still 160 meters behind where the Panthers are at. and that is with an unfair metric of giving them 10 metres an average per run. So that tells you how separated this game is at the moment. Post-contact metres is 286 for the Panthers, 192 there for the Dragons. I don't think the Dragons are doing too badly in this department, to be fair. A difficult metric to read, but you probably put them around the 250 mark, I would say, with the equated amount of runs for 25. 250, maybe 260, so it's close up, but still in favour of the Panthers. And then you go to the line breaks, 4-1 for the Panthers, obviously gigantic. Tackle breaks is 13-8 to the Panthers, so Dragons, individually speaking, are actually doing pretty well here today defensively as a tackle percentage, but collectively, obviously not so much, with it being 22 points to the Panthers right now. 13-8 is actually really good for both these teams. Now, when I said the average set distance will be gigantic, I was absolutely spot on, son. So 25 metres and below on an average set distance is turn the stream off, pathetic. 25 to 30 metres is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is basically perfect. The Dragons are at 31.96, so they are at the mid-range, lower to mid-range of the underwhelming category. They're not getting to the 35 marker. They are under it by about 3 metres right now. It's not great. It's not great scenes here for St. George in regards to their set distances. But for the Panthers, they are a whopping 15 metres above the Dragons with 47.01, which is incredible. That is a fantastic average set distance. It's not at the perfect of 50 plus, but they're only 3 away from that. The Panthers have been getting a monumental amount of metres with 47.01, and again, that is 15 metres above the 31.96. So the Panthers are running rampant with the metre battle. Then you go to the average play the ball speed, and wowee. So anything under 3.29 is extremely fast. Anything 3.3 to 3.39 is fast, 3.4 to 3.59 is average, 3.6 to 3.79 is slow, and 3.82 and above is extremely slow. The Dragons are extremely fast at 3.04 seconds. That's nearly getting into the 2-second category. That's really crazy stuff there from the Dragons. They are moving this ball very, very quickly, whilst the Panthers are also extremely fast at 3.14. So on its own merit, like that 3.14 is incredibly fast. It's extreme. But the Dragons have 0.10 in front of them as well. So that is really quick play the ball speed here today. Really quick. Offloads is 8-4 Panthers way. That's a lot of offloads there for the Panthers, which is good. And a lot of them are going to hand. They've actually scored a couple of tries off of their offloads. Forced dropouts is 2-0 Panthers, which shows you the Panthers are the ones attacking. And then the kick refusal is 67% for the Dragons and 50% here for the Panthers. You go to the effective tackle percentage, and we knew this was going to be the case. They're both at a very good rate here. Dragons 90.68% and the Panthers at 93.33%. 85% and below is disgusting. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is marker, and then 90% and above is incredible. And both these teams are in the incredible category. So 90.68% there for the Dragons. You're pretty happy with that on an individual level, not a collective, because they're down by 22. Well, they've conceded 22, but on an individual level, that's very good. 214 tackles made for 13 missed tackles and 9 ineffective. So the average amount of missed tackles is 15 to 17. They're on 13, so that's 2 under the lowest of the averages. And the average amount of ineffective tackles is 6-7. They are on 9, so they're 2 above the highest of the average there. So the ineffective tackles aren't great, but the missed tackles are actually very good there for the Dragons. And then for the Panthers at 93.33%, 182 tackles made for 8 missed tackles and 5 ineffective is very good on both accounts. 182 tackles made is 32 less tackles than what the Dragons have had to make. But they've also had 8 missed tackles, which is 7 underneath the lowest of the average of 15 and 17. And the ineffective tackle at 5 is 1 underneath the lowest of the 6-7 average. So 13 bad tackles for the Panthers in the first half, 22 bad tackles for the Dragons in the first half. That's why the Panthers at 93.33 is actually really, really incredible stuff. Anything like 93 and above is amazing. So, look, they're definitely happy with that. And I did say that I thought the Panthers might come in a little bit underwhelming on attack today, which in some points they have, but their defense was going to be on point. And for the most part, they've only given up 6 points, and which means their collective defense has been pretty good, especially considering the Dragons' try came off a dubious call. But regardless of a kick where it just kind of got spread out to the right, and then Flanagan scores basically underneath the pose. Overall, I think the Panthers defense has been pretty on point today, which is what I was expecting from this game. So look, both defenses have been great on an individual level. Dragons not so much collectively. And then you go to the negative play, errors wise. Errors average 5-6, 7 and above is awful, 4 and below is good. The Dragons are at 4, so it's not too bad. It's on the precipice, but it's on the point of it, but it's still in the good category, and the Panthers at 5 is on an average level. So both these teams aren't making too many errors. Panthers are bumping up a little bit. It's not too bad here. You know, last night we saw, on the Broncos Storm game, I think it was was it 10 errors to the Broncos in the first half and 9 errors to the Storm, or was it 10 errors Storm and 9 errors Broncos, or something like that? Or was that yesterday's game, actually? That was Manly Warriors, sorry, not Broncos Storm. It was Manly Warriors, where I think Manly had 10 and the Warriors had 9. So that is 6 less for the Dragons for the home team, and that is 4 less there for the Panthers as the away team, comparatively to that Manly Warriors game, which tells you the significant gap between that being a bad first half for both those two teams and this being a pretty good error half there for both these two teams. And then the penalties conceded is 2-1 against the Panthers. It's not too bad. So overall, this game is pretty much going to plan. We knew the Panthers would come in here and win this game, unless an absolute miracle happened for St. George. St. George's season is done. They've been limping to the back end of the year since that loss to the Warriors, which knocked them out of contention. Whilst the Panthers, they're either going to be in 7th or 8th position. Right now, you'd be pretty happy to just lock them into that 7th position, which means they travel to New Zealand next week, and the Roosters would be travelling to Shark Park, which they'd be pretty happy with, because that's just up the road, comparatively to flying across the ditch to the old Kiwi land. So I'm going to take the Panthers here. I'm still going to take them 13 plus like I did pre-game, and the stats here definitely align with that. So it would take a big miracle for the Dragons to overturn this game and to win it, or even to make it close. Duraz's thoughts on Carter Gordon and debuting today. I'm really excited, man. I'm excited because obviously he's a guy that we've been looking for a long time, to be fair, to be getting his crack, but he got injured this year. Got around the Wallabies and it comes across from the Melbourne Rebels and rugby, who don't exist anymore as a club, but I'm just looking forward to seeing something new, and it's obviously Kieran Foran's last game. Des Hasler's last game as the coach of the Gold Coast Titans, the last home game of the season, last game of the season. Plenty to play for in regards to avoiding the spoon, which is a likely chance. It's not a likely chance, but it's a good chance, is what I would say. So there's a lot to play for there for the Titans, and this should be the change of an era, especially with the fact that after this game finishes today, the Titans will go into 2026 with individual owners rather than a collective ownership group of the Kellys and the Frizzels. Now it's just the Frizzels. They will have a new coach in Josh Hannay. They will have a new director of football in Scotty Sattler. They will have a new head of recruitment, which is Anthony LaFranchi. I've seen Ezra Howe in his own situation at the moment with the Perth Bears and involved with the Titans, which is a little bit how you're going. And then we've got plenty of changes happening, right? Like I said, the halves are going to be changing and whatnot. So this is kind of like the end of a pretty poor era for the Titans that we hope can change going into next year. So I'm looking forward to everyone getting a crack in today. TI23 says he missed the whole game. I missed what game? Oh, Charles says I was gone for 10 minutes. What did I miss? Yeah, you missed the Panthers just, putting them to the sword, basically. The Hobbit says, what do you think of the Warriors' first try last night? It was crazy, dude. You can go back and look at my commentary. Like, I was live for it. It was crazy to see Fisher Harris get that. But it was also pretty poor for the Warriors then to concede 2 straight tries right after that, despite the fact the second try for the Manly Seagulls probably wasn't a try. Although, regardless, they still gave those 2 tries. Scott says, need your help, please. I've tipped the Titans. Will we get up against the Tigers for Des and Foran's last game? I hope so, man. That's all I can say to you, really. Logan says, I'll give you 100%. Yeah, awesome, Logan. Appreciate you for the 100%. Chris says, yeah, we don't have a SJ in the background or some homegrown 7 coming up. I think the Broncos are looking good, but I don't think they have the defence to win the comp. Attack great, though. Can be clunky at times. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Adam Reynolds coming back in, because obviously Reece Walsh has taken a big leadership role when Reynolds has been out, and same with Ezra Mam. It'll be interesting what they do in the second week of the finals with Adam Reynolds coming back, because they will be no matter what in the second week of the finals. Because they did look a bit clunky when Reynolds was their 7 and Reece Walsh was their fullback. So that'll be... but then again, they made a grand final with those 2 guys in 2023. So I don't know. But yeah, their defense does look how you're going. And I don't think Thursday night is a great read of it, because overall, the last few weeks before that Storm game, they were pretty poor on defense. And then that Storm game came and they were very good in defense, but also, the Storm had no intention to play the big time footy that the Broncos were needing to play to make the top 4. So it's a bit of a facade game. With that being said, though, the Broncos were the better team in the game. And it said I did well on my tip and comp. I came 4th last, only up from here. You came 4th last, only up from here. Well done. Welcome to how the Titans have gone the last 3 years. Hobbit says Warriors winning states at home 2025 ain't good at all. Warriors winning stats at home 2025 ain't good at all. Besides 2023, this has actually been a common theme, where people always have this thought process that the Warriors are like unbeatable at home. And it's not really true. It hasn't really been true for a very long time. Like, besides 2023, they were very good, obviously, just across the competition. But Warriors' home stats at Mount Smart, or Go Media Stadium, what they call it now, has always has always been, well, it's been a lot more on the turvy side than the topsy-turvy in regards to at least the last 5 years specifically. Or 6 years if you want to take out COVID when they were playing home games at Central Coast. JJ says the Dragons turned to mush over the past month. Yeah, once they lost that game with the Warriors, man, it was done for them. And I think that they've just all clocked off as a playing group since then. You can't lose to the Rabbitohs 40-0 and tell me that you're still clocked on for the season. You can't go and lose to Manly as bad as they did last week and tell me they're not clocked off for the season. So, look, Manly have been a better team the last few weeks, but overall, you can clearly tell the Dragons have just gone from being on cloud nine after that Raiders and Sharks victories to completely falling off a cliff once they couldn't sneak it in the end against the Wars. But all right, the Dragons here will receive the ball for the second half. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. They're down by 16. I don't think this will be changing, but anything can happen. The Hobbit says, come on Dragons, roar the fire with tries and clever drop goal. Well, they wouldn't need a drop goal if they get 3 converted tries. It'd take them to 24. Chris says, yeah, bro, exactly. Panthers will have no problem going 2-hour flight to come here. They easily won when they had none of their top players playing. Both Clearys will feel home away from home. Yeah, for sure. When the Warriors did play the Panthers in Origin, Kurt Capewell was missing for the Warriors, but for the Panthers, they were missing Dylan Edwards, Nathan Cleary, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo, who Liam Martin's not even playing today, Isaiah Yeo, Brian To'o, all these guys were all out for the Panthers, and the Warriors were heavy favourites, and the Panthers ended up winning by about, 12 points, 13 points? I don't know if they won 13 plus. It was close. I think it might have been 12 points. Either way, it was a pretty convincing, it might have been 10 actually, it was a pretty convincing win for the Panthers throughout the game. There was a point in the second half where it looked like the Warriors were kind of fighting their way into it, but overall they shouldn't have been in that position with the top 4 team at the time going up against Panthers at that time of the season, the Panthers were still about 13th position and were still working their way out, so no one had faith in them. But now, looking back in hindsight, that was the start of the Panthers run and it was the beginning of the Warriors' fall. It was one of the beginning games of the Warriors' fall. It might have been the beginning of the Warriors' fall, actually. Is that a 40-20? Is that a 40-20? No, bounce inside, and Dragons will get the ball on their own in-goal. Gutho took ages to pick that up, and he's going back in the in-goal. Oh, no, he gets the offload away, and they'll still go back in the in-goal. It was risky from Gutho, but, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose at this point? Shade says the Panthers tunnel ball, they play the balls. The Panthers tunnel ball, they play the balls. Chris says Panthers look extremely relaxed in the dressing room, doing it easy. Well, ultimately, this game has nothing riding on it, and they're up by 16. Of course, they don't, the Dragons, they're limping to the end of the season, and the Panthers, they don't really care who they play next week. Said Chris, I know, Panthers in June won every game, beating Warriors easy way. So the Panthers now, again, though, that time, though, and I did say at the time the Warriors were vulnerable, but I still thought the Warriors would win that, which they didn't. But at that time, no one really knew what the Panthers were doing just quite yet. Second tackle now at the 20 for Penrith. And they will go right-hand side off to Nathan Cleary, then to Luke Garner. And Garner's going to be 10 metres away from the line. Third tackle, trying to get a strip. And they'll give it to Nathan Cleary. Cleary goes in himself, and he'll be at the 5. He's been very good today, Nathan. Very good. And has scored a try as well. They give it back to Isaiah Yeo off to Dylan Edwards. Edwards is going to run it through to the 5, and it's going to be 5th tackle 3 minutes in. They're already on the attack, though. They are already on the attack. Oh, that was an awful pass from dummy half. But Blaze Lungi ends... Oh, that's offside. Well, that's offside. What on... It's offside. It's accidentally offside, that's fine. But I don't know why it took him so long to call that. I don't know why it took him so long to call that. It took him ages. So Dragons get the ball here at the 10. It's an accidental offside, not a deliberate offside. Hubbard says Panthers are just too patient and clever. No, I think there was a lot of problems earlier on in the year. I think that they didn't have the hunger, but now I feel like because they didn't have the hunger, they've now realised they can make history by winning 5 years in a row coming from last as well, because they were last at one stage. Or they might have been second last. They're either last or... I think they were last at one stage. Second last definitely, but I'm pretty certain at one point they were last. Steve, can the Panthers make the grand final? Anyone in the top 8 can make the grand final. 4th tackle now. Maybe not the Wires. Sorry, Warriors fans. 4th tackle now at 33. Mitchell says, David Clemmer for a crash play is a guarantee. Yeah, don't know about the guarantee there, Mr. Mitchell. Don't know about the guarantee there. I didn't really guarantee you it doesn't happen. Especially considering the Dragons just aren't getting into the attack in 20 at all today. That's a good kick there from the Dragons, though. And the Panthers will have to pick this ball up here from their own 10. And Jenkins Brings it out to the 20, and then he gives it off to Edwards. Edwards gets it across. They're going quickly, and Paul Alamonte. Then taking it out to the 25. Got an extra 5 metres, I guess. Last halfway, so they were last halfway through the comp, yeah. So it would be like a Parramatta Eels story of 2009, but actually going through to win the grand final. Either way, Panthers didn't get any home games this year. They haven't had Penrith Stadium, as that's been completely rebuilt and redone up. So this year and next year, really, because I don't think that's ready next year. I think they've got another year at CommBank. This year and next year should have realistically been just rebuilding. I guess you can argue that. Retooling is what I should say. Nathan Cleary gives it to Luke Garner, who'll be 40 metres out, fit tackle. Lawrence just came back to the stream, forgot Wallabies playing Argentina. Go the Wallabies. Suoliti being quiet, but my asking has moved now. Knock on for the Panthers. Making his move now. Wallabies playing Argentina now, are they? Wallabies... they're losing 21-14. Well, still time. Obviously, Argentina beat All Blacks the other week, didn't they? Or was that in Buenos Aires? Where was that? Dragons now at the 40 on first tackle. And Damien Cook gets it underneath to Loko Pacific Tonga, and he'll be at the 50. Who did the Panthers come a draw with? Cowboys. It was 30-30, I think, like round 10 or something like that. I think it actually might have been around the Origin period. Oh, geez, nearly got away there, Flanagan. I think Flanagan's been pretty good for the most part today. I think he's been pretty solid. And now Flanagan goes right-hand side to Tyrell Sloan. Is in space, and he'll kick this, and it'll be charged down by Sorensen. So it's going to be 6 again here for the Dragons, 15 metres away. I'm surprised that they actually went to the short side there, but there was space. And then Scotty Sorensen just knocked it down. Laurie says, yeah, the All Blacks lost in Buenos Aires. AB's got box in an hour at Eden Park. Jeez, that's going to be a big game, that. Springboks versus the All Blacks. The Box obviously lost to the Wallabies over there at home in Johannesburg. And I think it was Johannesburg, wasn't it? And All Blacks lost to Argentina and Buenos Aires. So both teams not unbeatable, but obviously the biggest rival in Rugby Union Internationals. Left-hand side for the Dragons, and now they'll be 3 metres away through Loko Pacific Tonga. Hey, Mitchell, maybe the big Clem Dog. Maybe big Clem Dog for a crash play. Where is he? Well, he's not here at the moment. And short to Jaden Sewer, and he's going to be 8 metres away for St. George. Third tackle. Jacob Little. He'll give it to Flanagan. And Hame Sele, he's 4 metres out and 4 tackle. You do want to see some pretty structured defense here from the Panthers. You don't really care too much about their attack today, but you do want to see structured defense. And that is a try time, I think, for the Dragons. I think he's got this ball down to the corner. They will call it. It just comes down to if his hand stays up, but they will call it as a try time for the Dragons on the left-hand side. And it is Corey Allen. It is Corey Allen. Corey Allen, who got moved into the team. Ben Masilla actually went to the 18th man. But Corey Allen, he's the try scorer there on the wing for the Dragons. It's coming, I can feel it. Well, you're going to have to feel for a little bit longer, Mitchell. You're going to have to feel for a little bit longer. I'm pretty certain the Queensland deciding Origin winner, Corey Allen of 2020, does get this ball down. Yeah, he gets that. Unless his other elbow, but I'm pretty certain he gets it down. I think his feet stayed in the air. What about his left elbow? Yeah, he gets that. It was close, but he gets that. It's a good effort there from Corey Allen. Difficult kick here for the Dragons, however. Difficult kick. Corey Allen, the greatest ever Origin fullback. Yeah, look, when Billy Slater was growing up, he wanted to be a lot more like Corey Allen for sure. That's what I'm thinking. He wanted to be a lot more like Corey Allen. That's pretty much guaranteed. You know, Darren Lockyer, he had posted of Corey Allen in his wall growing up. Of course. Did I hear, by the way, that Darren Lockyer is purchasing a part of the Broncos? I think I did. I'm going to look at the news here. Explaining why he wants... Oh, by the London Broncos. Okay. I knew there was something to do with the Broncos, but the London Broncos... Because he wouldn't have the money to he has a lot of money, but he wouldn't have the money for purchasing the Brisbane Broncos. Chris says, yeah, there are a lot of All Blacks fans here in New Zealand. Well, sure, because the All Blacks are New Zealand. Of course there's a lot of All Blacks fans in New Zealand, Chris. Have got Squeaky Bum Time. Oh, sorry, I should have read it. I thought there was it just skipped to the next part. There are a lot of All Blacks fans here in New Zealand. I've got squeaky bum time, feeling like the Eden Park record will be broken tonight. When was the last time we lost at Eden Park? And they will miss the kick by a country mile. So it is Panthers 22, Dragons 10. Sorry, I read that sentence out there, and then it went down to the next one, and I just kind of, for some reason, my brain thought you only had that sentence. Hobbit says, 9 News talking about there's more Springbok fans than ever in New Zealand, and talking about it, about a All Black winning streak at that stadium. All Black winning streak at the stadium. 2020 Super League champion, London Broncos, Dasmate says. Yeah, not sure. Not sure. I know nothing about the Super League, really. Not nothing, but not much. Box, last time they beat All Blacks at Eden Park was 1937. Jeez. That's only 12 years away from being 100 years. That'd be huge if they can keep that up, but I do probably... Like, the Box always, even if they are better, they obviously still lose that game, so... Well, good luck. You need a bit of a win this week, because obviously the All Whites lost to Australia in the 87th minute yesterday in the football. The Warriors lost to the Manly Seagulls by 1. And that's going to be a penalty here to the Dragons. A penalty to the Dragons. The Panthers give that one away. That was a ridiculous one from Brad Schneider. I don't even know what he's doing. Newcastle Thunder will give them a real run for their money. What are they doing? What's the referee? Oh, there's going to be a challenge here from the Panthers. I think they might be challenging that a Dragons player might push him. I think that's what they might be challenging. You reckon Storm have a chance now? Yeah, for sure. Last week you don't even look at. Thursday was a throwaway game for him in a lot of ways. So he's getting... He does come back through the ruck. This is just a penalty. Yeah, okay, so that's a throwaway challenge. Both teams have no challenge now. 30 minutes to go here in the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Challenge unsuccessful from the Panthers, and it's still 22-10 Penrith. But of course the Storm still have a chance now. They still will get Harry Grant back. Yeah, they probably won't get Jerome Hughes back, but they will get Harry Grant back. And they will play in games. I still back them to beat the Storm next week. To beat the Bulldogs next week. Still back them. Nothing lasts forever. End of the world when Wallabies take back the Bledisloe. When the Wallabies win the Bledisloe Cup, God help New Zealand, eh? Might be the worst day in history. Might be worse than the America's Cup. So Dragons now beat the 30. Might be worse than the underarm ball from Dennis Lilly. Absolutely would be, I reckon. So Flanagan off to Gutho. Gutho to Jaden Sewer. And Jaden Sewer is going to be 20 metres away, third tackle. Chris says, what's happened to Sloan? If there is an NRL side that can unlock his speed and potential, I always thought it could be good. Yeah, defensively is a little bit how you're going, but attacking-wise, he can definitely get something moving. Fourth tackle now 10 metres away. Jacob Little goes to Jaden Sewer. Sewer, 1 metre out. Fifth tackle. If they score again, it'll be a converted try. The difference, I don't think he scores there. No, he will be. He will be, I think, short of the... Oh, he's lost the ball, so it's going to come out to the 10. Comes out to the 10. And maybe Puppy won't be shit. Well, Puppy's not playing next week, so Puppy, I believe, is out. I think he's been playing with a concussion the last couple of weeks, to be fair. So they would have to have Tyron Wishart in the halfback. They'll obviously have Munster 5'8". They might actually put Munster to the fullback and put Jonah Pezzett into the 6. And then have Harry Grant in that 9, obviously. That might be what they do next week. Mitchell says Sloan needs an IQ test. Why are you going for his IQ? Panthers at the 20. And now Isaiah Papali'i, he'll get the offload away. Blaze Salungi gets the ball over the top into Jenkins, and Jenkins has got Sloan there, so he can't beat him for speed on the left, but still gets a good move to the 40. Still gets a good move to the 40. And now Papali'i at the back into Isaiah Yo. He'll run it nicely to the 48. They're getting some good metres here on this set. It's about 40 metres already in the first 4 tackles. That's over 10 metres on average per run. Nathan Cleary, Dylan Edwards. Edwards now to the 35. Nearly got through, but King Tongia again locks him down. All right, so Nathan Cleary, he will put that one up in the air. Tough one here for the Dragons. Pants chasing it through nicely. And Gutherson will catch it, but he will be taken out to 5. That was close. Yeah, I haven't seen too much about the Sharks tape, but I did hear about something happening. God bless everyone involved. The Hobbit says, I hope Kiwi coach stays with our Wallabies. I definitely do not like Eddie Jones, that's for sure. Screw Eddie Jones. Not going to read those words out, but definitely not a fan of Eddie Jones. Trader. Mitchell says, because he makes me look like a genius with all the bonehead mistakes he makes. Fair. Forward tackle, Jacob Little, off to Jaden Sewer, and they've only got this ball to the 35 or 37 or so, fair tackle. So not a great set there from the Dragons. Decent enough carry there from Sewer to get them at least close enough to the 40, and now Flanagan, basic kick, that's going to be an easy one to take here for Jenkins at the 10. He should be able to bring this ball back out here to about the 30. That's Edwards, sorry. And Dylan Edwards will get it to the 35. A really strong run. Forgive my language. No, it's not about the language, Hobbit. It's about saying... It's about a different word that you use there. It's a one-on-one strip there for the Dragons. It's not about the language. I don't care about the language. All right, so one-on-one strip for the Dragons, and now it's going to be second tackle. They've actually got a bit of momentum here in this second half. Still only a 12-point game. Panthers haven't done it away just yet. St. George, left-hand side. Clint Gutherson, they give it out. And now the Dragons are 23 metres away. How do you see Raiders-Broncos game going? I do have the Raiders to win at GIO Stadium. I do have them to win there. Forward tackle now at the 13, especially with a rested bunch of players. Now probably, then they would get a second week of rest as well. Damien Cook to Kyle Flanagan. Here's Gutherson, and he gives it off here to Tyrell Sloan. They're going to score in the corner. They are going to score in the corner here, and it's going to be 22-8 with a kick to come. Well, the Dragons have scored a couple of back-to-back tries here. They've scored a couple of back-to-back tries here. And it is 22-14 Penrith with a kick to come. Raiders-Dolphins will be a better game. All right. Well, Dragons, they're finding a way back in. Well, Warriors, you still don't know who you're playing next week. Sharks, you still don't know who you're playing next week. And Roosters, you still don't know who you're playing next week. And Panthers, guess what? You don't know who you're playing next week. Halikami getting around it from Papua New Guinea, getting around the Panthers from Goroka. Yeah, Panthers have really slowed down here in the second half. To be fair, the Panthers have been known for falling off in second halves. I've just realised this. Last week in the first half, they were pretty good and then fell off in the second half. The game against the Raiders, they were up in the first half and then fell away in the second half. And the game against the Storm, they were up in the first half and fell away in the second half. So this is a bit of a trajectory, actually, with the Panthers in the second halves. This is a bit of a thing that we have seen quite regularly with the Panthers, actually. It's quite funny. So, 8-point game. And that 13 plus isn't looking maybe as likely anymore. Still 25 minutes to go at the game, though. A difficult kick here for the Dragons from the far right. They missed the last one by length of Flemington Strait. There's no way the Panthers throw away a 16-point lead at halftime to the Dragons, though, with nothing to play for. Surely not. If they lose this game, like, dearie me, you've really got to question a lot, regardless of anything. Like, regardless. Oh, they've learnt. The spam accounts have learnt, Jay, how to subscribe before they do it. Well, spam accounts have learnt. Flanagan is taking so long. Bro, you are the team down here, Flanagan. Hubbard could go to Golden Point. No, I don't think so. If it does, that'll be 3 straight games with basically a full-strength team for the Panthers. Yeah, sure, they still don't have Brian To'o, and they still don't have Liam Martin. But, like, the Panthers fans can't be using any excuses for this game. And Kyle Flanagan from the corner. He will miss the kick by, again, the length of Flemington Strait. So it will stay 18. So you say 8-point game. It is 8 points the difference. 22-14. It would be 22-18 if they had got their kicks. It would be only a 4-point game. But they have been 2 difficult kicks the last couple. Truck and Sex Bots will be back soon too. Yeah, maybe. But the way you get rid of those is that you just have to be subscribed for 5 minutes to chat. Took all that time just to miss the kick twice, and like badly too. Like it wasn't even close either time. All right, well let's see if the Dragons can. They're still got to score twice now. Those 2 missed kicks just then were really detrimental. And Kyle Flanagan, and you do usually see that the team going this way at Wynn Stadium in the second half does usually have the wind with them. At Wollongong, that is a common theme. A team going that way usually does get the better of it. Second half completion rate. Panthers are at 40% through the first 16 minutes here. Wow. 40%. They're not even completing half of their sets here in this second half. Kyle Flanagan at the 30 on third tackle. And now Jacob Little, he'll be at the 35 and he'll be taken down. 4 tackle. You'd want to be seeing a bit more from the Panthers here. You would want to be seeing a bit more from the Panthers. Again, the Dragons have nothing to play for here. Besides potentially avoiding the bottom 4. If they do lose, they will come third last. So the Panthers will get the ball to the 10. Dylan Edwards to the 20, the 25, and he'll be taken down. He's usually been pretty poor in second halves recently too, so... And it's a knock on from Dylan Edwards. Just as I was talking about it. I tell you what, he's been awful lately. He has been awful lately, Dylan Edwards. It's not good enough. The last 3 weeks of his play, especially since Origin, like, he has been awful. Like, he has been, funnily enough, one of the worst fullbacks in the competition over the last 3 weeks of his play. He cost the Panthers big time against the Storm with a couple of late errors. He cost the Panthers big time with a couple of late errors against the Raiders. And he potentially could cost them here, where the Dragons could score 25 metres out. Brent says, that's right. Are you taking the piss, Edwards? I just don't understand why he can't just play a ball properly. I don't understand. These knock-ons by Edwards is ridiculous. It is actually. It's ridiculous. It's every week, multiple times, in crucial periods. This is a crucial part of the game. 25 metres out against the Dragons, and you're making that mistake. All right, Jaden Sewer now. He's 20 metres away from the line. Third tackle. 23 minutes left here in the game. And roll it back to Jacob Little. Little across to DeBellin. DeBellin, they go left. And Halangahu is going to be 11 metres away. Fourth tackle. Jacob Little goes quickly out to the right. King Tonga goes at himself then. And then he'll be taken out at 13. There was nothing really going on there. Fifth tackle. 13 out. Flanagan, short ball. And not the play. So it'll be Panthers ball at the 5, not the play. Royal Grand Majesty says, makes you wonder what happens during halftime for the Panthers for them to perform so much worse during the second half. Well, they were, as someone was saying, they were very relaxed and some would argue complacent. You wouldn't be complacent at halftime against the Raiders and the Storm, but again, this has been a common theme with them. This has been a common theme with the Panthers in the second halves. Like I says, looking at all the teams' fullbacks, Edwards has probably been the worst form fullback in the game. Yeah, I would agree. He would be the worst form fullback in the game, which is like a super harsh thing to feel like you have to say, but it is also true. He's got the ball now, Edwards. Just play the ball, Edwards. That's all you got to do. Just play the ball at the 45, and he does get this one going. Isaiah Yo inside the attacking half. Like, they're making good meters, the Panthers. They are. They're just not putting themselves actually into attacking range, though. But here comes a big kick from Nathan Cleary. Let's see if something changes now. The chase through is okay, but the Dragons will get to the 15 and taken back to the 10. Good work there by Luke Garner and Moses Leota. Aussie Mother says, will it be Teddy or Walsh for Australia number 1? I'd be going with Tedesco every day of the week. He's probably going to win the Dally M. Walsh is 250-50. Dragons now at the 15. Like, if you want to go for the future, then maybe you look towards Reece Walsh. But if you want to go for the now, you'd be taking Tedesco. Dragons hit this ball at the 20. Third tackle. The Cowboys game is a prime example of Walsh. And when he's not the main man, like you see with Reynolds being there and Ezra Mam and whatnot, when they have their spine of Reece Walsh, Adam Reynolds, Ezra Mam, and Ben Hunt, he's been pretty bad for the most part of the season, but he's finding some great form at the back end now with those guys out, which is giving him a lot more, limelight to do what he wants to do best. And if you play for Australia, you're going to be playing with guys like Munster, guys like Nathan Cleary, guys like Harry Grant, who are going to take your shine away from you in regards to the fact that they're going to be the ones controlling and you can't be the one to control, which is what Reece Walsh has done so good recently. Chris says, honestly, watching this game does give me a little hope next week if the Panthers win, we could get them if we're on. I don't agree personally, but you have to have the faith. As a fan of the team, you have to have that faith. Isaiah Papali'i, he runs his ball 4 tackle now to the 32. 20 minutes to go here in the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Panthers are 30 metres out, and it's a 6 again. So Nathan Cleary with the ball at the 30. Here's their first real attacking opportunity of the second half. 25 metres away, first tackle. Roop says, am I reading right? I do get where the wooden spoon is destined. No, not prelim winning team. What? Am I reading your comment right? What did you just say? Am I reading right? I do get where the wooden spoon is destined. No, not pre. I don't know what you're talking about. Nathan Cleary. Oh, geez, so close to Scotty Sorensen. Third tackle. Case McLean. Short ball to Isaiah Papali'i, and he will score a try. Well, straight away when the Panthers get an attacking opportunity, they will go up at the end of the score. And now I don't see the Dragons scoring three tries to win, because I do think Nathan Cleary gets his kick to make it 28-14. I can't see the Dragons winning from now, so I will say that the Warriors will be playing Panthers in New Zealand, and I will say the Roosters will be playing Sharks in Cronulla. Alphonse says it has already cost them considered changes for the finals, Panthers. Consider changes? I would disagree. The team that you've played with for this year, there's no way you're dropping Dylan Edwards. You can't do that. It's not possible. It's simply impossible. And improbable as well, mind you. I would say there's no way that's going to happen. But no, it's like we had this conversation, I think, last year with the Sharks, with Nico Hines. It was like, you've played your entire season with this team. It's too critical of a position. You have to play Nico Hines to the halfback. You have to. Right? It's like you can't change that. You can't put him into the 6 and trim him to the 7. Mix things up at this point of the year. You know what you're doing. You know what your team is. You're going with the team that you've played. The Warriors shouldn't be making changes. The Roosters won't be making changes. Sharks shouldn't be making changes. No one should be making changes. Rube says Titans. Yeah, but what are you saying, though? Your comment isn't in English. He said, I do get where the wooden spoon is destined. No, not prelim winning team. Like, what are you saying? You're referring to the Titans. That's fantastic, but that's not English, what you just said. So 18 minutes to go of the game, and it's 28-14 to the Panthers. And the biggest issue there is that you said, am I reading right? We can't even read yours. Leon said, Sharks Roosters, is anything like 2023, week 1, I'm all for it. I think this final series is set up to be an absolute banger. Last year, we only had one really good finals game, really, which was Bulldogs versus Manly. So I hope this year is the off year. Like, usually you have, like, a year of great finals, a year of average finals, a year of great finals, average finals. So this would be on trajectory for a great finals year. And with the way the season has played out, like you would expect all games to go to the wire next week and for the final series, because every game between the big time teams has been shaping that way. For sure. Hobbit says Panthers losing streak ending at the right time. Yeah, sort of. Second tackle at the 25. Chucky says he's talking about the Panthers. Well, then how are we talking about the Panthers? Oh, I do get where the wood... no, but that doesn't make sense, Chockies. That doesn't make sense. What you mean, Chockies? Talking about the Panthers. He said the Titans... I don't know what he's talking about. Dylan Edwards now. I don't know what he's talking about now. I don't know what you're talking about, Chockies. Brent says Papali'i deserved that. Been good since he's been on. Yeah, Papali'i has been good today. He's been one of their best. Panthers chasing this through nicely. Gutho will get it, though, and get crunched to the 13. They've done really well in regards to chasing through the high ball today and limiting Gutho's space once he gets the ball. And now Panthers are trying to maul him down here, and they keep him second tackle at the 19. Don't forget, guys, we'll be live for the Titans versus Tigers right after this at Seabus, where we may be decided to see the Titans get the spoon. If they win, then it will come down to tomorrow's Knights Eels game. And then we do have a massive belter of a game between the Bulldogs and the Sharks, which will tell you a lot about both those teams who are playing full strength. Dasmate says, no, the only good finals game was the grand final. I don't know if that was a great grand final. I can think of much better grand finals than that. Much better. Dragons at the 40. Do you think that last year's grand final was great to watch? I thought Panthers pretty convincingly won that, despite it being a relatively low-scoring game. I know what you're saying, the Bulldogs-Manly wasn't a fun game to watch because you're a Bulldogs fan, but the grand final I didn't think was too spectacular. Dylan Edwards now to the 35 on second tackle, 16 minutes to go of the game. Panthers looking like they're travelling New Zealand next week right now. Paul Adamotti, third tackle to the 45. They've been making bucket loads of metres all day today, the Panthers, all day. Moses Leota, and the Dragons gave him one set restart here in this second half, and they capitalise on it, the Panthers. And now Nathan Cleary goes to the 35. He runs it through to the 25. It'll be fit tackle. He's taken out of the play, though. He's taken out of the play. They give it to Blaze Talangi, and Talangi's going to put this one up into the corner. Chase through here is nice. And Isaac Tungo will actually have the ball stripped from Gutho. So it's going to be a dropout here, and Gutho's allowed to do that. That's really good there. He's in the act of scoring, so Gutho's allowed to do it, but it is going to be a dropout. He's saying he dropped it. Gutho, stop it. Like, you're stripping the ball out, Gutho. And there's no point going to the bunker and you can't challenge. What is Gutho saying? He dropped that ball. That's incredible. It's a penalty to the Panthers. It's a penalty to the Panthers against Gutho. Gutho, why are you... What have we just seen? Gutho is saying that Isaac Tungo drops that ball when he is very clearly stripped the ball. Like, he has literally taken the ball away from him. He's quite literally just taken the ball away from him. We've all seen it. He knows it. The ref knows it. Everyone knows it. And then he gets himself penalised to argue that he didn't do it, but we all saw it. There is no discussion, Gutho, in regards to absolutely no discussion whatsoever that you stripped that ball out. There is no discussion. How is he getting his team penalised for dissent for a very blatantly correct call? A very blatantly correct call. Oh, Wally's down by 3 with 1 minute left. Find a way, Wallabies. Find a way. Isaiah, that's in Argentina, yeah? Or no, that wouldn't be in Argentina. That's in Australia, is it? I think so. Right-hand side for the Panthers. They're 10 metres out. Dylan Edwards, Nathan Cleary. He goes it to the 3-2 third tackle. Proper Eels fan gut, though. It just doesn't make sense. He got his team penalised for the correct call. For dissent. And it was like it was involving him, so he would have known. All right, out to Blaze Talangi. Talangi at the back of Nathan Cleary. Here's a try coming up. Well, if McLean could have passed the ball to Jenkins, it would have been a try. But it'll be fit tackle here for the Panthers, 3 metres away from the line. Now, Scotty Sorensen, he'll go to Nathan Cleary, and that's an easy try for the Panthers. Yes, it is. Nice pass there from Nathan Cleary for Lindsay Smith, and that is a try for the Panthers to make it a 32-14 game. Well, Warriors fans, you now know who you're playing. You are playing the Penrith Panthers in New Zealand. And Sharks fans, you now know who you're playing. You are playing the Roosters at Shark Park, a place you haven't won since 2008 in the finals. And it's a knockout finals game. Last year, yeah, you won the second week against the Cowboys, but you have been known recently, in recent years, to be, either one-and-done teams or straight sets teams. So, Sharks, you need to prove it wrong, and you're going to have to beat out a Roosters team that struggles in first halves, but really puts them to the sword in the second halves. So, easy try there for the Panthers. Lindsay Smith puts it over and makes the game over. Leon says, I don't see Wars Panthers being an enjoyable game next week. I disagree with you. I disagree. Which I think that you're understandable why you have that opinion. And I don't think that you could be wrong. I think you absolutely could be right. But I disagree. I think that the Warriors next week at home in New Zealand, I think will be a game that will surprise people. I do have the Panthers to win, but I wouldn't put it out of the equation of a Warriors win at Go Media Stadium. I wouldn't. Which might be a ballsy call. It genuinely, it may be, but I just don't. I don't think that we're going to see a bad finals game next week. I think Sharks Roosters will be a belter like we saw a couple of years ago in the finals. Nathan Cleary gets the kick, so it's a 20-point game, 24-14. I think that the Broncos Raiders should be a good game down there in Canberra. I think Storm Bulldogs is going to be an amazing game, even though there's no Jerome Hughes and probably no Pappenhausen. And then, yeah, I do feel like Warriors Panthers. I think, you know what? I'm going to go out as far as say it might be the best game of the round. I might go complete opposite, yeah. Because usually you find the games that you look at, and I say this all the time, the games that you look at as the best games of the round usually turns out to be a fizzler. Two amazing teams going up against each other can easily be a close game like a Panthers versus Storm or a Panthers versus Raiders. But it can also easily be a blowout because both teams are so quality that one team's quality can over-exceed the other team's quality. And then through that team just goes on with it and goes on with it well. And this team just can't get themselves into the second gear and just can't get themselves out of the kind of the flat line in the middle of the quality. So I will go away and say that maybe the Warriors Panthers might be the best game of the round next week. Because usually the games that you don't look at actually end up being belters. TI23 with the $2 review donation. Get around your TI23 for supporting the channel. He says Bulldogs. Well, good luck next week. Well, good luck today. You play the Sharks today in a big game. So Panthers third tackle now. They'll be at the 45. Oh, Blaze Lung with a great run, but he does get chopped by Damien Cook. Fourth tackle at the 40. They give it off to Nathan Cleary. Cleary off to Lindsay Smith. Lindsay Smith fakes the pass at the back. It'll be 25 metres away. And penalty to the Panthers. Penalty to the Panthers for a strip. But yeah, thank you very much, TI23. All donations to this channel always very much appreciated from you guys. Leon says, Panthers beat Waz earlier 28-18 with Metcalf on Waz and no Cleary. Yep, that's correct. But we also see completely different results happen all the time. So I agree that your possibility is more likely, but I'm actually going to go at the complete opposite here. That doesn't mean either of us are wrong. So Nathan Cleary after Lindsay Smith, we'll only find out next week on Saturday 5:30. Because I'm pretty certain that's when they'll give the Warriors their slot, because there'll be 2 primetime slots. The NRL would love that. They get a primetime slot for New Zealand in a time that, if the Warriors weren't playing the finals, then it would be a non-primetime slot. But it is. Out to Nathan Cleary. Cleary at the back here to Blaze Salungi. Casey McLean never passes the ball, and he'll be 3 metres away. 4 tackle. 10 minutes to go here at the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 10 minutes to go. Scott Sorensen on 4 tackle. He'll throw the ball literally back to the 25. That was a bad pass. But Nathan Cleary is going to fake the kick. He gives it to Dane Laurie. And Laurie's going to make a mistake. But Panthers knocked this ball backwards. So it's still 4 tackle here at the 25. This is a bad tackle, this. 5th tackle now. 10 minutes to go. Smack it in. And now Mosley Oda on last tackle. Nathan Cleary. He kicks that ball up super high. Tough one here for everyone involved. Jenkins catches it. He kicks that ball through, and Gutho will grab it at the 3. And again, limited space for Gutho all day. Acidic Ankle says, proud of how far the Warriors have done this year, losing Sean, AFB, and other key players. Can't really use AFB because you got Fisher Harris, but Sean for sure. And other key players, I wouldn't be mad if we get smashed by the Panthers. Yeah, that is a pretty poor mentality. I agree with that, Leon. That's a poor mentality. I disagree with you. I think you should still be mad contextually through this season. Hindsight-wise, pre-season, you would have been taking this absolutely. But no, I don't think that's the right mentality to have. You wouldn't be mad. You'd still be mad. You'd be happy with how the season's played out for the most part, but you'd still surely be mad. You can't use the AFB excuse because you got Fisher Harris as a direct replacement that hasn't necessarily worked out in the same plans, but you have finished higher than you were last year with 8B. Sean Johnson, sure, but then again, it was time for him to retire. But the question mark came around who was going to be the halfback, and Metcalf did well, and then the injury. But no, I think that is a pretty poor mentality to have if you're okay and content with getting smashed by the Panthers next week. Benny West is streaming from inside a cupboard. What? Why is there always people talking about the audio? There's always people complaining about the audio. Is this audio not good? Dion says, I think... Oh, Oz win? Did they really? Did they really? Did they really? I believe you guys because you both commented at the same time without knowing what the other one said. Nathan Cleary right inside, and the Panthers are going to... Why'd they chip over the top? Why'd they chip that over the top? It was going to be an easy try, and they bombed it. Did they really take that messy, Leon says? That's hilarious. Get around the Wallabies, man. Get around the Wallabies. Get around the Wallabies. It's just how my brain works. I don't know. Like, you're not wrong to have your opinion, but I think it's a poor mentality, but you're not wrong to have your opinion. Like if the Titans played the top 8 this year, I would have been super happy with the year, but if we got smashed by a team, I'd still be super angry. Like, first tackle for the Dragons at the 30. If he just passes that ball on the inside, the Panthers score again and make it 40 points to 14. Don't know why he kicked it, Garner. Especially a back row kicking it there. Second tackle now for the Dragons at the 32. Mitchell says, is it a requirement to not speak English on this channel? It is, yeah, in fact. We speak Portuguese here on the channel. We do speak a bit of por favor Portuguese. Third tackle now at the 35. Actually, por favor is Spanish, isn't it? But Gillis said, I think Painters... Okay. But Gillis said, I think the Painters will face the Raiders at final next week. Okay, Pagilla, there's a couple of problems here with your comment. Okay, 1, it's the Panthers. 2, it's the Raiders. And 3, the Panthers play the Warriors next week in New Zealand, and the Raiders will be playing the Brisbane Broncos in Canberra. Oh, Dragons are away here. Oh, Little loses the ball. That was actually really good. And then he just dropped the ball out the back, and it was a great cut-off tackle. Otherwise, he was close to getting a try. Titans are slight favourites, are they really? Well, Tigers fans are always proud regardless. Well, yours is a different story. Tigers fans are a different story because the Tigers aren't in the finals, and you'd be proud to get into it, and then you'd be content with your season regardless. And I think Warriors fans should be content with their season regardless, even if they do get smashed. But I don't think it's about not being mad. You'll still be mad, especially losing at home to a team that did technically finish below you. 4th tackle at the 24, regardless of other contexts. All right, left-hand side for the Panthers. Blaze Salungi still going. Gets away from 1 tackle. Gets away from 2. He'll be 5 metres out. Benny West's weather must be pleasant there. because your ceiling fan is off. Now, I've got the aircon. I've got the aircon on. Penalty to the Panthers. 6.5 minutes to go. Right. 10 metres out. Yeah, Gutho's been all over the shop in the second half. He gives away another strip there. You going to argue that one for dissent as well, Gutho? Or? Leon says, what's Wallabies rank in terms of top teams in the world? I think about 6. 5 or 6. Jack DeBellin will go on report. I think Box will be 1. And then it's like France, New Zealand, England kind of deal. I don't know if England's still there. I don't know where England will be, actually. Because we beat England. So Lindsay Smith is going to be 3 metres away on first tackle, 6th. Okay. These last couple of wins should help us out, though, in regards to those ranks, because we were dropping down real far. Don't ask me about where Wales are. You don't want to know. Second tackle. I think Wales are like 12th or something, which is crazy. And Moses Leota, strong run. He'll be half a metre short. Third tackle. Panthers go open side. Hits the grass again, though. They're passing. And this attack has been a little bit wonky in the second half. Specifically, Casey McLean will be 12 metres away. Wales in Queensland. Don't start us. Don't do it, Leon. Oh, Nathan Cleary kicks it through for himself. And they're going to say that it's fine, that it's not a penalty. No, they're just... No, so Nathan Cleary's claiming that he should be getting a penalty there, but it's going to be a 7-tackle set for the Dragons at the 20. Chris says, because Eden Park is a rugby ground, it's way too big for our fan base. Mount Smart Stadium is our spiritual home. None of us here want to play at Eden Park. Just ask BKR. He went there. He knows. Yeah, no, I love Go Media. Oh, I still call it Mount Smart, but I do try to force myself to call it Go Media because it is what its name is. But you know, I'm a big fan of that stadium. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed more so the people, though, than the stadium itself. I do think the stadium needs to be having a few renovations and whatnot. But overall, I did like Go Media Stadium. But with that being said, that is coming from a relatively biased opinion where we won for our first game in the season, 8 rounds in. And I'd travelled to Canberra and Townsville and whatnot and seen my team lose in heartbreaking robbery at GIO Stadium with that KO Weeks one. And whatnot, but yeah, a little bit biased, but overall it was an unreal trip. Jack DeBellin at the back here. Dragons passing the ball around quickly. Jaden Sewer, he's going to kick this ball into the corner. And Tyrell Sloan, they're actually going to score a try here, the Dragons. They are actually going to score a try. It's going to be 34-18 with a kick to come. Going to be 34-18 with a kick to come, and the Dragons probably should kick this conversion. Townsville must be a trick. Yeah, not a fan of Townsville. Stadium's great. Townsville's hot. Townsville is hot. It's actually worked out. Dragons, it works out. Blaze Slungy went up hard, and so did Case McLean. Then a nice kick there through from... Nice kick from Jaden Sewer, and he ends up getting the try after Tyrell Sloan passes it back to him. They should get this kick, you would assume. They've missed their last couple of kicks big time, but you'd assume they get this. 4.5 minutes left. Last try wins. Last try wins. Sloan will wind down the clock with his kick now. Well, it's not Sloan who'll be kicking. It'll be Kyle Flanagan. Kyle Flanagan. Well, don't forget, in about 30 minutes' time, 35 minutes' time, we'll be live for the Titans versus Tigers, guys. Last game of the season for both those two teams. Last game of the season. 4 minutes left here of this one. Dragons, 4 minutes left. At least they finish off their season with a try. As long as you don't concede again in this last 4 minutes. Panthers wouldn't be too happy with that. They would not be too happy with giving up that one. So Damien Cook now on the bench as well. I would like to see this kick. Okay. Leon says, which top 4 team is most likely to be out in straight sets? I want to see the Bulldogs play tonight, and then I'll tell you. Broncos are a shout too. All right, Kyle Flanagan here. To make it a 14-point game, he will make the kick. So it is 34-20. He has missed a lot of his kicks today, but he will get that one. 3 minutes 18 left of the game. Wales, 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 Jay. Wales, Wales, Wales. Your favourite country. Your favourite country, sir. Storm are smoking, to be honest, they somehow lost. I disagree. But we'll see. 3 minutes 18 to go of the game. Serving for the Wallabies. Yeah, no, it's awesome stuff, mate. It's awesome stuff. The Wallabies got that. Very good stuff. All right, Panthers. They will kick it off. Let's just see the Dragons finish off this half. Oh, wow. The Panthers might actually get it. No, Dragons do luckily get it. But, geez, that actually bounced pretty awfully. And now Dragons will be at the 20 on second tackle. Oh, boy. This one went to as we expected. And Luchan Leilua will be 25 metres away here from his own line. Jacob Little off to Pacific Itonga, and it's going to be 4 tackle now for the Dragons. Good run there from him to the 45. Are you wearing a tank top for the next game so Jay doesn't point out your sweat? Yeah, I'm going to keep your shirt on. It's nice and comfortable, mate. Leave me alone. And Dragons, Leilua, fit tackle. 2.5 minutes left. Come on, Titans. Give me something to get chirpy about, you know. Give me something to chirp about today. All right, King Tongia puts that one up in the air. High kick, and Dane Laurie catches it. He'll go out to the left-hand side of the 25, and he will get to the 32. Good run, though. I'm changing his mind as well. You better be wearing Vietnamese fighting hat. Well, I can't because I'm not in Vietnam, mate. Not in Vietnam. I'm in Malaysia. I'm in Kuala Lumpur. Can't be doing that. Panthers at the 40. Now to Lindsay Smith, and he'll get to the 50 on third tackle. Let's see a field goal from Nathan Cleary. Oh, I don't know. They might have actually taken him off. No, he is still on the field. Let's see a field goal from Nathan Cleary. Or maybe a try. Maybe just a try. Oh, 25 metres out, 4 tackle. Go over the field goal here, Nathan Cleary. Go over the field goal, you cat. We always love a good field goal. Moses Leota gives it off to Lindsay Smith. He's going to be 15 metres out. Get a practice of a field goal here, Panthers. Practice the field goal. Practice the field goal, Panthers. No, they don't do it. As Nathan Cleary out the back here, Panthers. And they're actually going to score a try. Isaac Tungo, Paul Amotti, he will score. So Amotti will score. Don't worry about the field goal. The Panthers will score to make it 38-20 with a kick to come. And you've been the hat. No, I left it with a friend in Ho Chi Minh. So we'll have it for next week. But I don't have it with me now. Metal says, I don't know about the Titans, but I know the Tigers will give you something to be excited about. We'll gift you a free win. Thank you, Mitchell. You know what? I don't give a fuck if it's a free win or not. I just want to have it. I just want it. Please, give us something for tomorrow. You know, Tigers, how about this one? How about you think about the rest of the competition? How about you think about someone other than yourselves, please? Don't be selfish. You know, make the Knights earn it tomorrow, you know? Make that game mean something, because the Raiders and Dolphins means nothing. Don't be so selfish, Tigers, you know? Come on, you know? Vietnamese biting hat is better than biting sniffy jar. Well, I haven't been long enough in Malaysia to really get something that would represent... Like, I could get something that represents here, but I'm only here for a week. I would like to come back and do more here at some stage. But then again, the world's so big, man. Like, life goes on as you're making plans. You know, I'd love to go back to India and visit Udaipur again and see my friends there and go down and visit the south. And I know at some stage I'll go back to India. But then again, you say that and then you realise, well, then you went to Thailand, you went to Vietnam, you're in Malaysia. There's still heaps of Asian countries that you haven't seen yet. Cambodia, Nepal. There's bloody Myanmar, which is getting better, but still not great. Philippines. You know, there's so many in the Asia, and then you've also got South America, you got Africa, you got Europe, you got, you know, everywhere in the world. Everywhere still. Middle East? Oh, man, I want to get to the Middle East, but that's obviously very difficult. So the point is that life goes on making plans. Kayla's an awesome city. It's so underrated, Sean. It's so good here. So good. And Nathan Cleary will hit the post, and it goes in. So the final score is going to be a clean 40 points to 20, 40-20 to the Panthers. So, full time, and that means the top 8 is locked up for 2025. The Raiders next week will be taking on the Brisbane Broncos in Canberra. The Melbourne Storm next week will be taking on the Canterbury Bulldogs in Melbourne. The Cronulla Sharks, they will be playing in a knockout do-or-die game against the Sydney Roosters at Shark Park. And the New Zealand Warriors will be playing in a knockout do-or-die game against the Penrith Panthers. No one in the bottom 9 can make the top 8 anymore. That is how it is going to be. So, guys, we're going to jump off for now. We'll see you in about 25 minutes' time for the next game, which is my Gold Coast Titans taking on the West Tigers in the last game of the season for both these two teams. Obviously, obviously a very important game for the Titans to try and avoid the spoon. Tigers maybe not so much, but the Titans obviously Foran's last game, Tassie Hasler's last game, a couple of the boys, a whole changing of the team for next year, and obviously we want to avoid that spoon, which they would do with a win, and then just hope the Eels beat the Knights tomorrow. But hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for new round here, and I will see you in 25 minutes time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.